have primary control of critical vehicle functions. Roger roll, Discovery.
Hello and welcome to Cutting to the Bull, Goes Through the Apocalypse. I'm Ben, and as always I'm joined by Gaz.
Hello.
And Mike.
Hello.
And today we're going to be going to talk about the Chernobyl disaster, yeah?
Yes, Chernobyl.
Chernobyl. This will be interesting, I'm sure, and
Yes.
scary.
We're not talking
Yes,
about.
a bit.
We're not talking about the new show. Talking
No.
about the actual event itself.
Although to be fair, the new show kind of has influenced me in picking this as a topic.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, because it's brilliant.
Awesome. Still yet to see it, but I wouldn't mind. I've heard great
It's good,
things.
man. It's
Yeah.
good.
So before we get into weird news, which will take about 20 minutes and is on Facebook Live, hello again. We'll read some top cities for people who are listening. So who we got then, Mike? Dartmouth in Canada, Fort Pierce, Florida, Mainz, Germany, Mount Martyr in Australia,
Mm-hmm.
a couple of Sri Lankans,
Dudley.
Dudley, Santa Cruz, California, Bangalore, India, wow, Athens.
Wow.
We're big in Greece this week.
Big in Greece. Well, I imagine in Dudley they'd probably play it in the zoo to get the rhinos to sleep or something.
I'd have thought my soft dulcet tones would have had given a mating call in Dudley. Wow.
Well, so what's next?
Weird news.
Weird news.
Let's get the boys' views on this week's weird news.
So, do you want me to do the first one?
Go for it.
Everton climbers. Everton.
They ain't climbing
They ain't
shit.
climbing shit. Everest.
I did a sports joke.
Hey! Everest climbers forced to clamber over corpses as mountain is mired in chaos.
Wow.
Chaos.
So 66 years to the day since Tenzing Norgay, who was the Sherpa, and Edmund Hillary became the first people to scale Mount Everest, numerous climbers have spoken out about the lethal impact of overcrowding and underpreparedness on the summit of the world's tallest mountain. Since Nepal opened its side of the mountain to commercial climbing a half-century ago, the allure of Everest has grown, and so too have the crowds and the deaths, to the extent this year climbers have spoken of walking over bodies to reach the peak.
Is it worth it?
No. No, it's cold there for a start.
Well, I was listening to something the other day, I can't remember what, that basically said that climbers like this, there's like windows in the weather,
Yeah.
like periods where like, oh, we might actually be able to make it up during that period. And apparently there hasn't been one for a while. And then there was quite a big one. So all the climbers in the world, shitloads of them, like, shit, this is our time, we've got to let's
Yeah.
go for it. So that's why there's a sort of abundance of, because a certain percentage of people are not going to make it anyway.
No.
So if
That's
there's
it.
way more people trying to get up there, there's going to be more failures and bodies. But instead of walking over the body, drag it back down,
That's a lot of energy you're expending, then, isn't it?
I guess. Or at least stick like a little
Flag.
a stick, yeah, or something.
Dead body
lies,
here, and here, and here.
I'm just walking over their heads at this point.
Here lies man.
Man A.
Man I found. Blue man. Blue baba dee dada. It's something, you know.
I mean, you're not going to dig a grave for them, are you? Just using all that energy.
What, the ground will be really hard on them.
That's true, yeah.
Maybe push them off the side for a laugh.
Use them as a sledge.
Human toboggans!
There you go. Not very respectful.
Yeah, a bit disrespectful that.
Fuck, it gets you down quicker. And it's fun.
Till the body disintegrates.
Yeah.
Well, there is that. Or you hit a rock and it explodes. And you survive, but you're covered in
Then you
innards.
ironically become a corpse on a mountain and someone uses you to walk them down.
It's the circle of life. Wow.
Yeah. So, May 22nd, a climber took a photo showing an enormous queue of climbers standing crampon to crampon, clipped onto the safety line to reach the summit. So, they're just waiting in line to get to the top. They feel freezing to fucking death.
And there's more dead bodies then.
Other climbers spoke of stepping round dead climbers who are still attached to the safety rope.
Oh my god.
Jesus, that is
I'm not going to give you the willies, is it?
That's so macabre. It's just sort of gently like easing past this fucking cut. You sure it's going to be alright?
I'll tell you what, in the event of a zombie outbreak, I am not going to Mount Everest.
No, that would suck. There's nowhere to run.
And it would freeze though.
That's true.
Yeah.
True.
So they'd just be frozen on the floor going,
Then you just walk up, smash their heads in.
Yeah.
fuck off, you dead fuck.
Well done, science
It'd be
officer.
the best place to be.
You're going to get up there first, though.
If there's
And not
lit-
freeze to death.
There is that.
if there's a queue of people, what was the word? Crampon to crampon. It won't be long. There'll be a fucking McDonald's up there, or a Starbucks.
Oh, Starbucks, definitely. Starbucks has infiltrated Game of Thrones.
Imagine
They
these,
won't- yeah, they won't
serving
be
the
paid
dead
tax.
bodies. Burgers.
Some of the McDonald's staff do move like they're dead.
Oh, I know. How fucking hard is it to get lettuce on a burger?
Exactly. You
You
know?
open the box and it looks like a fucking explosion. Bless him. Take some pride in your work.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. Mount Everest choked with the bodies of the dead.
Right, what does that one say? One British man who died minutes after reaching the summit on Saturday had spoken of his concern about overcrowding on the peak. Minutes after he got there. Was it worth it, mate? Plus, there's that many of you get up there. It's not like anyone's going to remember your name. We're just looking at pictures now for the listener, and there is literally quite a long fucking queue of people.
Yeah.
Do a very quick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's got to be 20, 25 people, maybe 30 in that line.
Just waiting.
Just all hanging onto the same
Yeah.
rope. What if something happens to that rope? I mean, I
course.
don't understand, mate. All my knowledge of mountain climbing comes from the film
Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger. Yeah, fucking underrated classic.
Yeah.
It is actually, yeah, I'll give it
I'm
that.
not gonna die. He does some top quality ring and
There's a lot of bulging veins as
a
well.
lot of straining. Yeah,
Yeah.
when he's swimming under the froze. Fuck, man, I need to watch Cliffhanger again. Did you know they're remaking it with a female lead?
Yeah.
Now, I'd be up for it if she's the daughter of Stallone's character. But if she's like got the same name or something, it's just a flat out remake. Then I'm like, oh, couldn't you make it so that she was his daughter? That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe have him in as a cameo.
Yeah.
Maybe he's the rescue chief now.
Ooh, have you seen the Rambo Last Blood trailer?
I have. It
Fuck.
looks gory.
Yeah.
It looks...
I want it. Somebody described it like it looks like Home Alone with death.
Yes. Yes, it does. An aged Macaulay Culkin. Why won't they do a film where Macaulay Culkin went to Iraq, right, comes back and has to fight robbers off from his house that way?
A grown-up... Have you
Iraq
seen...
War veteran Macaulay
Have
Culkin.
you seen
There's probably
Grown Up?
murder.
Home Alone 4?
Have you seen Grown Up Macaulay Culkin?
Yes.
He is incredibly fey and effeminate and
Then
fabulous.
we'll get John Cena to play it.
Woo, we're in Iraq! Yay!
Then we'll get John Cena to do it.
Alright, there you go, I believe him.
Now we've got a movie.
There you go. So, John Cena is playing a grown-up
Macaulay
Kevin McAllister.
Yeah, who's been to Iraq.
He's been-
Special Forces.
But he got kicked out of the army because instead of using his machine gun, he used to tie grenades to strings
Yeah.
and like
Launch 'em.
swing them and stuff like that. Use your fucking gun, Kevin!
Never!
Never! I set booby traps!
No, he gets thrown out because he sets a booby trap up and his own guys detonate it. It's like a mistake.
And
It goes
so-
off wrong, so he's thrown
An
out.
entire platoon get...
Yeah, so he's got massive PTSD as well.
Okay, because I'm not a doctor, but I reckon if I deliver paint, that's my day job. I'm a wholesaler of paint, or I work for a wholesaler of paint. A 2.5 litre paint can has got some serious fucking weight to
I
it.
bet it has.
He puts them on strings, swings them, and they hit the robbers directly. That, my friend, is going to cave in your frontal lobe and fucking lobotomise you. You're not going to get up from it and go, oh, you pesky kid. So an entire platoon gets 2.5 litre paint tins.
Yeah.
They're all fucking
Oh, they got
lobotomised.
helmets on.
Oh shit, yeah. They get it in the face.
Blinds them.
Can't we just have it blowing up?
Okay, sets a bomb.
Right, and then the sons of the burglars who tried to rob him earlier.
Right. I think it's getting a bit convoluted now.
Okay, well, I'm going to pitch
Home
it.
Alone 3, the
Four.
Iraq years. Oh, sorry, Home Alone 4, the Iraq years. Wow. Home
Try
Alone,
pitching it.
Home Alone 4, Jolly Jihad.
Yeah, well, I'm going to throw it out there.
Well, there you go. Copyright us.
Yeah.
Don't take our idea, Macaulay.
Yeah. I know your career's dead.
Yeah, he's still really, really rich though.
I know.
He's a man of leisure.
Yeah.
So, what's next?
Yeah.
Don't go up Everest, in conclusion.
This is. I thought we better put this in because
Okay.
the U.S. Navy have been coming back to us, haven't we, about the about the UFOs they're spotting. Lots of them weekly.
Excuse me.
So who wants this?
Go on, Mike. you
Yeah,
can
go on
for
then.
it.
A significant number of strange UFOs spotted flying over the US. Numerous experienced pilots spotted the mysterious objects flying at speeds and for lengths of time that would seem impossible with known technology flying around in US airspace. The mysterious objects look like huge white tic-tacs and fly with no visible engine or exhaust fumes coming out of them. They appear to be able to execute maneuvers that human pilots would never be expected to pull off, rotating in the air and accelerating and stopping at possibly fatal speeds.
Aliens.
Wow. Well, yes, it could be aliens. They could also be. They might not be manned crafts. They could be.
And take this
Yeah.
away from me, Gaz.
No. I'm not saying they may be being controlled by aliens. I'm just saying
Oh, right.
they're moving in
Drones,
that kind of
yeah.
impossible. Like a living creature wouldn't survive that. The G-forces, whatever. Or maybe there isn't. Maybe it's some sort of drone, some kind of investigation device. I don't know. Just
Yeah,
spitballing.
maybe. Should be said that the pilots who are they're like we don't know. We won't comment on the origin of these craft.
Well, that's the annoying, frustrating thing about this subject is we know for a fact UFOs are real.
Yes.
People
Yep.
see them all the fucking time up there, but we literally don't know what they are.
Well, the US Navy see them daily.
Fuck it up. So we got no. Isn't that even scarier than aliens? Not knowing what the fuck it is.
Absolutely.
Could be something really simple, a natural phenomena, or fucking hell, I don't know. Maybe it's echoes of the next dimension,
Maybe.
Could be.
Maybe
like
if
static.
Maybe if we're
Yeah.
not actually. Maybe we're not actually alone on the Earth.
That could also be true. Maybe there are beings made of
Invisible
light.
aliens.
Yeah.
I've got some news on that later.
Oh,
Why
awesome.
why would we be able to see their craft and not them though?
Well, it's made from earthly materials, whereas they're
Made of
invisible. I don't know.
tic-tacs.
It seems as it's defeating the object. If you're invisible, you have to fly around in something that can be seen.
Well, it is a bit shit, isn't it?
Even Wonder Woman had an invisible jet.
Maybe Tic Tacs during one of their promotional campaigns had some sort of blimp-sized Tic Tacs
Yeah.
balloons
Right.
made. These balloons
That
became
manoeuvred anything unlike.
they became untethered somehow, and they're stuck up there in all the hot air and all the sort of wind
Oh, he's
vortexes.
getting buffeted by the thermals.
Like, we don't know what the fuck it is. Looks like a fucking Tic Tac. Because it is. Does it have Tic Tac written down the side of it?
And in the Tic Tac marketing office, there's just a bunch of guys going, "Oh fuck, it's loose again."
Shit, they think it's aliens. We want people.
Seems the words minty fresh again.
Or it's aliens.
It's aliens.
Who knows?
Aliens.
So what else are they saying, man?
Pilots first became aware of the craft when it showed up on radar tracking systems, they said. Initially thought it was a result of a secret drone program, but they became more mysterious when they started seeing them in real life. One pilot said he almost crashed into one of the objects, which was described as looking like a sphere encasing a cube.
Wow.
Because the pilots were in danger of hitting the objects, they complained that if the craft were part of a secret program, it could be putting their lives at risk.
Oh, imagine him going into Superior Officer. Have you got some fucking craft up there? And he fucking crashed into one. Why are you telling us?
I think he's got a fairly reasonable point.
Yeah, that's true.
If you're a pilot hitting stuff, that's the last thing you ever want to happen. And you
Especially in
can't-
the air. On
and
the
you-
ground, you're okay.
Yeah, and you're up there and you can't tell what it is. You think, well, if they've got, maybe it's something to do with the government. They must have something going on that we don't know about. I'm just a pilot. It's like, I'd like to know. Or if you don't tell me what they are, at least warn me where they are.
Yeah, that'd be handy. Don't want to crash one of your very expensive fighter
Yeah,
planes
that's the
into
thing,
it.
yeah. If you don't care about me personally, you probably care about your £30 million jet, don't you?
30 million? But
How much are they?
60, 70?
Oh, shit. Shit! Just for one?
Yeah.
It's madness, isn't it?
Anywhere from 50 to 70.
The amount of money that we spent into death.
Yeah, but fighter jets are pretty cool though, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
I won't deny it. They're still instruments of death. If we
They
put
are. Yeah, but
all
they're still
that in-
pretty cool,
If we'd
aren't
just
they?
given like Iraq the money that we'd spent, it'd be a paradise now, wouldn't it?
No, it wouldn't. The bloke in charge who's spending it all.
Well, make sure it filled down to the people. It'd be a paradise.
Are you suggesting trickle-down economics as a viable thing?
Certainly not. I'm a Marxist. I should know better.
Well, that sounds like you're endorsing.
I wish some would trickle down to me.
Never does, mate.
Please.
It was all designed to trickle up. That was the con all along.
Fuck.
Bastards.
Yeah, but communism's shit as well, apparently. So
Yeah, it's not great.
what do we do?
'Cause then you-
Let's not get into that now.
Because then you don't report on nuclear disasters when you're a communist state.
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
So the US Navy is seeing UFOs on a weekly basis, and their pilots are like
A daily basis.
daily basis, and the pilots are like, we don't know what the fuck's going on.
They were flying in ways that could kill a human crew, seemingly to accelerate, stop and turn almost instantly. Speed doesn't kill you, Lieutenant Graves said. Stopping does, or acceleration.
Yeah.
I thought speed did kill. That's the point of all them road safety ads.
And the film Speed?
Hey.
Yeah. Yeah. Or the bus.
That's Speed too.
Yeah.
Cruise
Cruise
control.
What's he called in The Simpsons? I saw this film about this bus that couldn't go above a certain speed, so they had to maintain the speed. I think it was called The Bus That Wouldn't Slow Down.
Oh, I love that film. First one, anyway.
First one's great.
Pop quiz, hot shot. Yeah. So, I guess that's it, really. What's your money on?
Aliens?
Well, obviously, silly question. Mike?
Possibly, mate.
Definitely a possibility, isn't it? Or maybe natural, unexplained natural phenomena we
I
aren't
just can't think
equipped
what
to
else it could
understand.
be, apart from, like you said, maybe sort of bleeding in from other realities, but seems unlikely.
Maybe there's some sort of light. There are things about science on our own world that we truly don't understand.
Water. Why is water a liquid?
Can be any state.
I know, but on
Oh,
Earth,
you've
like-
just crashed my systems. I don't
yeah,
know. What is it?
hydrogen's a gas,
Right.
oxygen's a gas. Put them together, you get a liquid on the Earth's surface.
Well, it must be God.
Magic.
We don't know why.
We're special.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan did it.
So although science has a lot of answers, it doesn't have all the answers.
Exactly. So yeah. So that was my point. Then there could be some sort of light phenomena that we don't understand. It could be a creature that's
Yeah.
not of alien origin. It could be. There are things we definitely don't get. So I've got that again back to what I said right at the start. That's what I find frustrating about all of this kind of UFO stuff is just I don't know. Is there some answers going to be coming? Some people think we're getting ever closer to disclosure. That's why there's more and more of these stories in mainstream press. You've probably noticed.
There's a lot of them.
I don't know. It's going to be a hell of a podcast when the news does come, though, isn't it?
Yeah. That'll be an emergency broadcast.
I'll probably be tearful.
When the fleets of UFOs are hovering outside, destroying stuff with lasers.
Do a live interview with Vrillian.
He'd be no bloody good. He wouldn't show up.
Really, boy.
He'd be late
Yeah,
for that.
if
wouldn't
we
he?
told him we've got weed, he'll get here eventually.
I don't know. We haven't got any weed.
No, I don't know what it is. Should we do a story?
Yeah. This is a follow-on. Do you remember she's featured twice now, this lady?
I do remember her, yes. So this is from the irishpost.com. Northern Irish woman who married a 300-year-old pirate ghost needed an exorcism after he possessed her. I can think of a few things she does need. None of them are exorcisms. They all involve bats and guns and
I was gonna say,
ditches.
Not even sort of psychiatric help.
No, we're going to go straight to the gun.
Alright. We hope you never get put in charge of the NHS.
Well, I have sometimes fascist tendencies
Or a
when it
sprained
comes
ankle.
to people like this.
Yeah, all the doctors are walking around with pistols.
Well, yeah, you say sorry, look, but in Brexit Britain, it's actually cheaper to execute you and burn the body than it is to bandage that ankle. So sorry, Eileen.
We don't make bandages in this country anymore. Sorry.
Mozambique triple tap. Want to make sure.
Bullets are
Two
expensive.
to the chest, one to the head, Mike.
Oh, fuck.
Come on, get your killing right.
Damn it, Mike. Just let us all down.
Oh, well, we do remember this mad old lady. She's not that old, is she? She's young.
She's
Anyway,
40-something.
she says she was nearly killed by her ghost husband after she broke off their relationship. The woman claims she underwent an exorcism to rid herself of the spirit of her former lover after he had, quote, possessed her. Amanda Teague of Downpatrick, Northern Ireland, who has previously worked as a Jack Sparrow impersonator, is now warning others about casually dabbling in spirituality. In 2016, she married the ghost of a pirate, funnily enough named Jack, who had allegedly been hanged in the 1700s for piracy in the Caribbean. Amanda claims that after 2 weeks of marriage, she started experiencing health problems. Were they mental? Yeah. Because I think you had them before the wedding. The 47-year-old, who is no stranger to spirituality and communicating with the dead, began to worry that her health issue were due to her being possessed by her husband. I know the symptoms of possession and part of it is ill health, Amanda said. After the spirit of her dog, Toby, was apparently aggressive towards Jack, her fear worsened. Yes, see, dogs are always good judge of character, aren't they?
Even ghost dogs.
Even ghost dogs.
Yeah.
She began to experience frequent health problems after being intimate with Jack. She fucked thin air and got a disease from it. Wow. And Jack, before long, she was admitted to hospital with sepsis.
Isn't that blood poisoning?
I don't know what sepsis is. I might have it.
To be fair.
I think it's blood poisoning.
Like I said, not a doctor. I almost died and I was in hospital for a week, she said. I had to take my wedding ring off when I went into surgery. That must have cut the energy link between us because I felt totally different after the operation. Yes, love, they cured you. It was drugs and surgery, not the fucking ghost. It was. Amanda eventually decided that ending the relationship was the best thing for her health. But after telling husband Jack of her plans, he threatened to kill her if she went through with it. It was terrifying seeing a completely different side to the lovely spirit I had seen before.
He was a pirate.
He got hung. But I knew in my heart that if I didn't get rid of him, my health was getting so bad, I was probably going to die anyway, Amanda said. Enough of this. Anyway, she's
I
had an
included
exorcism.
this for the simple reason that she has got 3 articles out of her own... First, she marries the pirate.
Yeah.
In international waters, you remember? In a boat. In a little
Yeah.
rowboat.
Yeah.
Second article, she's divorced him. And now she's been possessed by him. She's managing to drag this out and make some money out of it.
They're going to get back together. It won't have been much time.
Yeah, I'll guarantee you in a few months' time...
I took my ghost lover pirate back.
She'll either be married to another ghost pirate or the same one.
I've changed.
Yeah.
Jack the pirate ghost.
Exclusive interview.
So he sat there and what'd you say, Jack? I can't believe he changed. He was a murderous killer. He was a pirate. He got hung.
Has he got a ghost parrot?
I hope he has. Well, she's got a ghost dog. Why can't he have a ghost parrot?
That's probably why the dog was going mental.
Didn't like the parrot.
Yeah.
The parrot was...
She's playing with Jack. It was that fucking naughty parrot.
Yeah. Teasing the dog.
Shouldn't tease dogs.
No.
My girlfriend's kids are obsessed with picking the cat up as if it's like a teddy bear. And he's a big softie, so he lets him. But I feel bad for him, so I'm like, just let him be a cat. Stop picking him up every time you see him. But I found a brilliant video online of this girl like bending down to her cat and like throwing like fake punches at him.
Yeah.
And the cat is just like, fuck this. Like launches right up at her face. She falls back onto the sofa. He comes up on the back of the sofa and gives her, you know, when they do the really fast punches, like a good 5-6 punches to the head, and then runs off, and the girl is left screaming and traumatised. I'm like, don't wind cats up.
Have you shown them that?
Yeah, I showed them this morning. Like,
fantastic.
This is what could happen. Like, whoa. Yeah, he's not a teddy. But yeah, anyway, enough of my tales of domesticity.
Yeah.
Let's wrap this up.
So that's been weird news. Right, so today, let's go on to the main thrust of today's topic.
Which is Chernobyl, I believe.
It is.
Well, haven't I got a lovely surprise for you, Ben? Because it went down so well last time I did this.
Yeah. Wasn't the Jimmy Savile episode?
No, I think it was Jack the Ripper jokes.
Yeah.
I was talked out of doing the same for Jimmy.
I think you did still.
Did I? Yeah, probably. Sounds like me. Well, I have scoured the internet to find you a selection of some of the least shit, less shit.
When you say
Chernobyl
less
jokes.
shit,
Yeah, I didn't find any good ones. So, I present to you 2 minutes of non-stop Chernobyl stand-up. Hey!
Oh, I apologise to your listeners who are expecting a serious podcast.
Hello. Thanks for coming. Why shouldn't you shag a Russian prostitute?
Go on.
Chernobyl drop-off. Why shouldn't you
That's probably the best, isn't it?
It's going to go downhill very fast.
Why shouldn't you wear Russian swimming trunks? Chernobyl fallout. How many Russians does it take to change a light bulb? None. They don't need them. They glow. I just flew in from Chernobyl, and boy, are my arms legs.
That's not that bad, actually.
I was ecstatic to finally visit Chernobyl. Afterwards, I spent weeks radiating happiness. Chernobyl is a lot like Disneyland. Only difference is that the 7-foot mouse is real. A man goes into a farmer's market and sees a sign which says, apples from Chernobyl. The man says, are you crazy? Who wants apples from Chernobyl? The trader replies, you'd be surprised. They're popular gifts for bosses, mothers-in-law, etc.
Bernard Manning joke there.
Yeah.
Alright, this one's for you, Ben. Oh, you think that one's a Bernard Manning one? Just you wait. Oof, boy, tough crowd. What do you call a heavy metal band from Chernobyl?
Go on.
7-finger death punch.
Hey!
Red Riding Hood from Chernobyl, who has 3 breasts, is walking through the forest. The wolf stalks her down and tackles her, ripping off her top. He sees her chest and proclaims, my God, you've got 3 boobs. Red Riding Hood says, yeah, and if you don't like it, you can suck my dicks. It's very hard. It's very hard to pick. Is this on? Hello. It's very hard to pick mushrooms in Chernobyl. They run for cover when you get near. No, they've got legs. Anyway, boy, wow. You can never trust someone from Chernobyl. Most of them have got 2 faces. We're about halfway through, boys.
Halfway through? Jesus Christ.
I said to the missus.
3 more.
Hang on, this would be. I should do a Bernard Manning voice. I said to the missus, looking at you is like looking at Chernobyl. She said, why? Because I'm radiatingly beautiful. I says, no, because you're like a fucking disaster.
That is very Bernard
That
Manning.
might as well have been Bernard Manning. In fact, it probably is Bernard Manning.
Ghost of Bernard Manning.
Stop talking amongst yourselves. Come on, this is a show, it's a performance. I'll have you ejected. I am an inspiration. Why, I hear you ask? Because I rebuilt Chernobyl with my own 3 hands.
What's ejected? Well, have you ejected for that?
Hey? What? No, hang on, we're nearly there. A boy in Russia asks his grandpa, is it true there was a disaster in Chernobyl in 1986? Yes, says the grandpa, patting the boy's head. And is it also true that there were no real consequences? Asked the boy. Yes, said the grandpa, patting the boy's other head. And finally...
Oh, thank fuck for that.
Wow. Whew. Tough crowd. So, the Irish have announced that they have sent a peacekeeping force to the Ukraine. They report that they've managed to secure the city of Chernobyl with little to no resistance. Anybody? No? Oh, well, you've been a wonderful audience, regardless. Safe journey home, and lads, don't do up your flies in a hurry, or Chernobyl get caught. Thank you, and good night.
Wow.
Woo! That's usually, have you ever seen a comedy show? That's usually the bit where
Yeah, I've seen a comedy show and that wasn't
Thanks,
it.
Mike.
Mike
you.
being polite more than anything.
Thank you.
I've seen comedy shows before,
Yes, some of them starring me.
and that ranked somewhere near the bottom.
I held my microphone like a stand-up and everything.
And,
Jokes.
if you can call them that,
Right, let's get to the serious, factual coverage of Chernobyl.
we apologise for that so-called comedy show.
Drop off.
So...
Racist! I'm going to cancel you.
I didn't say it in a Chinese accent. Or Japanese accent. Does not exclude everybody. Chernobyl nuclear power plant next to the brand new city of Pripyat in the north of Ukraine, not far from the Belarusian border. Pripyat was called an atom city. It was literally just brand new. Brand fucking new. Just knocked it up.
Did they call it Atom City because of the plant, or atom as in it just sprang up out of...
No, this is the plant.
Oh, okay.
They were kind of all, any sort of city that was housed the workers of a nuclear plant, you just like called atom cities.
I was just thinking, because we live in a new town, and if if we could say we live in an atom town, that would be even cooler.
That would be pretty sweet, but no.
Okay. We live in a shithole.
We live in a slag town.
The Bernard Manning of podcasts.
The slag heaps from the coal.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
Wanker.
Slippery snake, you.
On the 26th of April, at 23 minutes past 1, an explosion rocked reactor number 4, blowing the roof off, exposing the reactor core, and spewing a vast cloud of radioactive smoke into the sky.
Wow.
As 5% of the material in the core was ejected over the time that was burning.
It was. I should have fucking wrote it down. Sorry, listener, but it was a certain amount of times bigger in terms of fallout than Hiroshima.
Oh, it was massively bigger than that, yeah. So the accident occurred, ironically, when a safety test was being conducted.
Yeah.
Never do safety tests. Never label anything safety. Never do safety tests, because it will always backfire on you.
Well, it's not the test's fault either. We'll get into it, but it's one man's insistence
That he knew right.
on the test being done when it probably shouldn't have been done. But hey, don't question the man at the top. What do you know, you little peasant ant worker?
Well, this is it. He's a party member. Well, they're all party members probably to be in here, but he's top party member. Don't question the party.
Is being a party member akin to being a made man in the mafia? Like, to get into the mob, you're a made man.
Well, it's like a Nazi in the Nazi.
Yeah, anyone can be a member of the party.
Yeah.
He's in the party.
But you've got to then conform.
Mm.
But if you're not in the party, you have a shitter life.
Yeah. What Hitler said in the Triumph for the Will was...
Mike's been watching a lot of Nazi propaganda
I watched
films
it once.
recently.
Mein Kampf is on his
once.
bedside table.
I watched it once.
Okay. But yeah, what did
You've watched others. You told me
Yeah,
on
I've been
Friday
seeing-
you watched others.
I may have watched a couple more, but...
Know thy enemy.
Exactly.
I think he's converting.
And he said, like, the ordinary citizen is the ordinary citizen.
Mm.
You know, if you remember the Nazi Party, you're like a super citizen.
Yeah.
More responsibility, loyalty to the party, all this shit.
Better living standards, I imagine.
Yeah.
If you're not in a war zone.
Yeah. So you get perks, don't you?
Of course.
That's why people do it.
Probably get your son out of going to the Eastern Front.
What
Yeah.
was the guy's name? I didn't write it down. I'm a
Dyatlov.
shit journalist. That guy, yeah, he's a bit of a... He was a broken man. That's my theory.
Yeah, I'll get into that.
Well, yeah, I'm jumping ahead,
We've got a little bit of background and then we'll go into what happened. So, the Chernobyl power plant, the accident occurred when a safety test was conducted. A combination of inherent reactor flaws, some human error, because there was a little bit of human error, but not enough to. It was compounded on by a stubborn, pig-headed refusal to look facts in the face more than anything. All contributed to the disaster. Now, the power plant was one of the Soviet Union's most advanced facilities, comprising 4 reactors, Soviet-designed RBMK reactors running on uranium-235. Highly radioactive, but not very efficient at lower levels.
Right.
These reactors, there was a flaw, in the design, and they knew about it.
So they didn't run them at low power.
These didn't run at low power.
They didn't work that well at 200... what's the
200
measure?
megahertz?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Megatons, is it? Oh, I don't know.
Megahertz.
Okay, yeah.
I think so. Anyway, reactor 4 was the newest, going online in 1983. Now, this place is massive. It's got 4 nuclear reactors, and it will take you half an hour to walk from one end of the facility to the other.
Wow. How do they turn the nuclear... How do they make energy then from a nuclear power plant?
A nuclear reactor is like a giant steam engine. Uranium fuel rods retract to provide steam from water that is being pumped through the core. This drives turbines, which produces electricity. Control rods of graphite are lowered to slow down reactions or to speed up reactions. If you want more reactivity, graphite rods up.
Yeah.
Less reactivity, graphite rods down.
I heard a good simple explanation. These rods are the accelerator and the brakes.
Yeah.
Basically, the same pedal is both. Yeah. Because I didn't know how a nuclear reactor worked until this morning.
It's actually quite a simple idea.
I was shocked. I was like, what? Steam?
Yeah.
I thought it was some magical, like, something, not magic, you know what I mean? I thought it was something way
2
more...
uranium atoms
Yeah, that's really hot, I take
clashing together, fission.
Yeah,
When
you
they
get
break
fission.
apart, causes energy, heats the water, makes the
Makes
steam, runs
steam,
the
powers the
turbines.
turbines.
I mean, them
Incredible.
little uranium things are like bullets, just whizzing round, and then they're going to hit each other, produce that energy, produce heat,
Yeah,
balls of
but they're
steam.
unstable, aren't they? There's more neutrons than
That's right.
electrons, so they're fizzing about, and
Right.
they want to sort of latch onto other things.
And one of the byproducts is like hot water that runs off into the local rivers and stuff. That is probably, is that radioactive?
Yeah.
Right, that's not good, is
No.
it? But people fish in those rivers.
Yeah.
So I was in the documentary I watched, in the good times of Chernobyl, because everyone in that town works at the plant, don't
Yeah,
they?
everyone does something for
Yeah.
that. Or they're like, support people like firemen, policemen, things like that. They're all to do with that
Yeah.
plant, yeah.
Well, there's a guy working at the plant who, on the day of the explosion, he wasn't at work, he was at the river, he was a maintenance man, he was doing a bit of fishing at the river, and it just casually mentioned
Was he
that-
nuclear fishing at
Well,
the river?
Hey! I'm the fucking one that does the jokes.
That was better than all of yours.
It wasn't. The Red Riding Hood one.
That was better than all of yours put together.
Seven Finger Death
Still doesn't
Punch.
beat Slagtown.
Fuck you guys. I'm going home. Right, what was I about? Oh yeah, he was fishing, and it mentioned like the fish were attracted to the river from the warm runoff water from the plant. And I was thinking, well, is that good for anyone involved then? The fish or the man fishing them? I hope he's not taking them home and cooking them.
Yeah.
I mean, he's only the janitor. It doesn't. He might not understand nuclear fusion.
It must be like a low
Fishing.
level of radiation, mustn't it?
A safe level,
It must be a safe level, especially if they're pumping it into the...
but it's not safe
Wow.
to go back there now, or is
But
it?
then again, this is 1986 in the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
I mean, our own health and safety laws were fucking atrocious in the 80s.
Well, they're shit now.
They're not great now, but they're even worse. I mean, my dad used to work in a battery making factory. Worked there for 30 years. All the waste chemicals, not disposed of. They used to throw them at the back. That was it. Just throw it at the back. Probably went into the water table and everything.
I know. 70% of climate change is down to 100 companies,
Fuck.
and we subsidise these cunts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but they make
It
cool
gives
stuff.
us millions and billions of pounds a year to poison our world, to extract oil and gas from.
But I like being able to get from A to B, and I like Big Macs.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do?
Them's the rules.
Well, I'm only joking. I know it's horrific, but I don't like thinking about it because it makes you feel small and weak and powerless.
Yeah, but instead, why don't we tax the companies? Instead of giving them subsidies, tax them if they're going to impact
Because
the
they're in
environment.
bed with the
Well, I know
politicians.
why,
aren't they?
but
Well,
yeah.
yeah, I know you know why.
It's a rhetorical question, but
That's never gonna. It's just we've just got to accept it. That's why I always
you don't have to accept it. Fuck
Yeah,
that.
we do.
Fuck,
It's
no,
not gonna
fuck
change.
that. Well, we're going to die then, aren't we? We're doomed. We've got
I'm
30
gonna be a
years.
slave till the day I die. A working stiff.
We've had 10,000 years of human evolution. That's not bad going for any species.
But I've had a laugh.
What about the other species that'll die?
Well, we're all going out together.
Yeah. Survival of the fittest. And the shittest. To be honest. But anyway, let's not depress ourselves with economics, mate.
Let's get back
Let's
to
do it.
Chernobyl. Because that's cheering.
I tried to lighten it.
Tried being the operative
Booed
word.
off the stage again.
So as the test began, almost all of the control rods were removed. Temperatures soared and a massive steam explosion blew the roof off the building and exposed the core, resulting in fires and radiation leaking into the sky because they were running it at 200 megahertz. When they realised that the temperature was spiking, they hit the shutdown button, which created a power surge.
Yeah.
Because the shutdown button should drop the rods, which it did, but it sped it up into the slow.
Yeah.
So you had a power surge, which then blew the lid off the, cracked open the core, exposing the radiation, blew the roof off the building.
I think.
Practically one guy's fault, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Dyatlov.
Dyatlov basically went ahead with the test. Probably not aware of the flaw. I doubt that any of them were aware with the flaw in the reactor design because it was a state secret. But the minute that reactor didn't start performing as it should have been, they should have just gone, you know what, cancel the test and just bring the power back up slowly.
But it was his pig-headedness.
Yeah,
exactly
he wouldn't
so.
accept it.
But I'm sure it said in the thing I watched today that the power was doubling a second.
Yeah.
Doubling every second. And they told that guy, Dyatlov, and he's like, impossible! Huh? Oh, fuck!
He wouldn't believe it. He wouldn't believe it, would he?
He was having none of it. They kept telling him we shouldn't be running it this low. It can't be done. And he was just like, look, I'm in fucking charge here.
Yeah.
And his motives were kind of, I heard that there was, somebody above him was moving on to another plant. So it was important to him to get this test done on time so that he could probably be promoted up to replace the top guy who was leaving.
So remember, in Soviet Russia, he gets a better food, better house, better car, better food, higher status in society,
better protection.
And also a big factor in it was that the people below him, they all got to live in like the top guys. They weren't living in that little town nearby. There was a different town.
It was actually the town of Chernobyl, which is further away than Pripyat.
Which was full of these sort of high-ups in the power plant, and it was a really high standard of living. It was an upper middle class way of living, you know. It was really beautiful place. Losing your job meant losing your home in that town, so there's a real fear of getting sacked to the point where you're doing something that you know is incredibly dangerous, but you're not going to say no to this insistent man above you.
There's not many people in our society that would say no to a boss.
No, it's true.
We're conditioned that way. We're conditioned from school. You know, why do you think, you know, get there for 9 o'clock or whatever? It's conditioning you
for
to
work,
respect authority,
yeah,
and not question.
And do a job.
That's it. That's all that 90% of the people are to these people. Is just
keep your nose to the grindstone. Yeah. Keep your head down. Keep your nose.
Keep making me money.
Yeah.
Of course, when you are part of the authority, then life becomes a little bit easier.
You're fucking the lowest supervisor on the supervisor rank, Ben.
Doesn't
you
matter.
Barely qualify.
I'm the people's key off. I am.
You're the Arnold Rimmer of your factory.
Key operative, yeah, he is. That's what he's Arnold Rimmer.
I'm the people's key off.
Third technician.
I'm senior. I'm a senior member of staff.
You're the lowest ranked officer on the ship.
No, there's people lower than me. Well, the operatives.
Fuck.
You know, I look out for them. I'm the people's champion.
You're a lance corporal at best.
Probably a sergeant, to be fair.
Fuck off.
Key operative, you're lance corporal.
Sergeant.
What extra special responsibilities do you have?
I got loads of stuff I do.
You can't name one.
Do you have to write everyone's name down on a clipboard? Is that one of your big special? Do you have to tick off who's here?
I just tick off who's in here. That's what my responsibility is. Because the supervisors want to do it. Basically, I do anything the supervisors want to do.
Exactly, all the dog shit.
And you have to suck them off at the end of the day.
No, I don't go that far.
Anyway, you might have some sway in the factory, but that doesn't fucking... It's got no currency round here, mate. You're not our supervisor. You're talking to us like you're a better class of human.
I am.
We don't work there.
I am.
If we did, we'd probably be higher ranked than you. And you wouldn't like that, would you?
I don't know about
Come on now. I could suck my way up the factory ladder.
No,
as long as they don't do drug tests, do they?
No.
Ah, fucking, I'm in.
Alright, then I'll get you a job.
Alright, I might need that one day.
The robots take your job. In about 10 years.
No, let's not go down this road again. 'Cause I'm actually armed with more information than I was last time. Yes, a little flaw in your AI plan.
My plan?
Yeah,
Mike, it's all your plan
you're
to
the one
replace
that keeps
Gaz
telling me
and
I'm going to
Mike.
lose my job in 10 years.
I'm trying to help you.
How? Oh, I'm going to retrain what has a fucking...
You're Jedi.
Jizz mopper.
You're going to retrain as a Jedi.
Essentially, there is something that the machines will never understand, which, if you drive, it might be hard to explain, but if you're a driver, you'll get that there's a certain element of chance, and like, okay, you're driving down the road, a pedestrian's on the side looking like they're going to cross, and there's a little psychological game that happens where you might actually start to accelerate, right?
Should you be accelerating as people look like they're going to cross the road?
This happens all the time. You're not accelerating, you're just accelerating slightly to send the message to them, it's not safe to cross, don't cross yet. And it works. They will back off like, oh, he's going a bit quick. Or you will slow down to allow them to cross. There's all this sort of weird stuff like that that's like social interaction, basically. That the AI is, like, the actual driving the car with and it can fucking do that, but it's having it out on its own in public, doing all these incredibly complex things without there ever being a fuck up. They're miles away from it.
That's where I think you're wrong.
Well, I heard that from a man who works in AI who was being interviewed, so no offence.
Well, I've heard conflicted opinions.
Well, politics, Mike.
Kurzweil himself.
Is he dead?
Was the head of Google, I think, was he?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember his first name, but he was saying that...
Well, if we're there now, why
He's
aren't
saying
they
10
doing
years.
it?
We're not there yet. I agree with you to that.
No, it is. That's the thing. The tech, the actual car, being able to drive
Yeah,
itself.
I'm about the AI.
It'll never quite understand the human. I'm not saying they're not going to do it, but it won't. It won't be
Well,
able
we
to
were having
drive
a
like I
discussion
do.
today about the Xbox and the graphics compared through the stages to 360 in the new one.
Yeah.
And you said there's a bit of a massive, there's quite a big jump.
Mm.
Yeah, well that's the same with the AI. It's going to keep jumping and jumping exponentially.
Mm. They'll need to recreate a human. I'm just saying, he ain't going to drive like me. It ain't going to be able to make the kind of decisions that I make. Fuck that robot driver.
You know that everybody thinks they're a good driver.
I know they do. And I'll also tell you, mark yourself out of 10, then -5, and you might be somewhere close to the fucking truth. Because all these 10-mile-a-week tossputts, right, who fucking drive to Tesco and back and work and back, think they fucking know driving, and are constantly giving the finger to people and getting pissed off. Fuck off. They can't drive. And when you have to go on a speed awareness course, they do that at the start. They're like, give yourself a mark out of 10. Smug guy who's done it 12 times that day. And you mark yourself and you have to call out what it is, and he's like, well, take away 5 because why are you here on a speeding course? And because I'm clever clogs and I've been on several speeding courses and I despise them. I said, well look mate, who here drives for 10 hours a day? And I'm the only one with my hand up. And I was like, across those 10 hours, sometimes I'm a fucking 10 out of 10. Some point I'll be a 7. Some point a 1. Sometimes a 3. What does that do to your little test thing then? And he's like, moving on.
And what do you mark yourself as?
Me, a solid 7. That's my average. It'll go high, it'll be low. I'm driving all day. I'd still do silly things sometimes.
Like run over a child?
No. He stepped out in front of me and he got a wing mirror in the face. And that kid learned a very valuable lesson that day about crossing behind very large parked school buses.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't get charged. The biggest miracle that day was that I passed the fucking drug test at the side of the road. Talk about nuclear power, the way my fucking leg was jiggling in the front of that seat waiting for the test to come back, that could have fucking powered a fucking small European
Policeman,
country.
like, you meant to wait to urinate.
It went far off, like, I was shit in a... And the worst was, it was within visual distance of my actual work base where I was heading back to. So I was sitting there in the police car looking at my employer thinking like, well that's all gone, isn't it? It's all fucked. And then he's like, I basically told him as well, I was like, I'm failing that man. I didn't tell him why. And then he's like, well that's come back clear, and he's all jolly and cheerful, and I'm just like, what? And I had to sit there for a bit longer while he interviewed the witnesses and stuff. And I was thinking, I don't give a fuck, charge me for fucking child murder right now. Fuck, I passed a fucking drug test, bitch! Woo! Not that I had any reason to not pass it.
Of course not.
Obviously.
You'd never go to work stoned.
Ben, I'm a 7 out of 10.
Exactly.
That would make me a 3 out of 10. Responsibility. Anyway, you're not better than us.
I used to do the last little bit on the explosion and...
To conclude the tangent, you're not better than us. Supervisor.
Yeah.
That's what you think. Everyone's entitled to an opinion. They're like arseholes. Everyone's got one.
Is he making a report about us when he gets home?
Yeah, I give you grades.
Gaz was very rebellious tonight.
An unknown flaw with the RBMK reactor was that at lower production levels it became harder to control. The release of neutrons which result in a power surge.
Okay.
Couple this so that the graphite control rods were not arranged correctly for the test, resulted in said power surge overheating and causing the steam explosion. And they thought it was a control tank that had gone up originally. So the explosion happened literally as the control team hit the shutdown button. And there was 2 distinct thumps. Remember, they're quite a way away in this control room. They're a good bit away, and they've probably got a bit of radiation shielding as well, I'd have thought.
It came in eventually.
Oh yeah, it came in eventually.
Yeah, it got them.
And they've just got paper suits on.
Yeah, and little paper hats.
Little paper hats.
Yeah, like surgeons' hats. So
Yeah.
What's that gonna fucking do?
Well,
The goggles, they do nothing.
do you want to call that piss break then? Right, we'll be back. Comrades. Alright, so firemen were called immediately to the facility. Have you ever heard the whatever the 999 version is in Soviet Russia?
What the number is?
Well, I don't know what the number is, but the call is, it's all in Russian, but it's like
Oh, the actual call.
it's in the subtitles, and it's like it makes you say, "Oh, the roof's on fire."
And he goes, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
Yeah, there's clips of that in the documentary I watched. Is it a special Chernobyl-based nuclear fire, people? Do you know? Or
Nope.
is it just you'd be a bug standard? Fuck, well that sucks for them. They didn't have hazmat suits, did they?
No, they didn't even have any. They showed up without anything, but they actually had the lack of preparedness of the Pripyat hospitals and services. Considering their entire function is to service this nuclear power plant, is quite bad. They had no iodine tablets in the hospital.
Is that
mad,
the
isn't it?
Which
quick,
helps
easy
you,
way to,
which helps you to cope with the radiation.
Oh right, okay.
To absorb it.
It absorbs it, yeah. Instead of your thyroids, your throat absorbing what you're breathing in, it gets absorbed by the iodine. So fires were raging into the sky, and a dense black cloud of smoke and intense radiation was just spewing out of the top of what was left of Reactor 4. And there was a beautiful blue glow spread around the top of the building,
nice, isn't it?
and that was the radiation ionising in the air.
Wow.
Basically, the 235 molecules are hitting the oxygen and reacting with it and causing this blue glow.
Yeah, there's a bit in the scene where the people are standing on the banks of the river.
And that happened. They're on a bridge a kilometre away from the burning nuclear reactor core.
And look how pretty it is.
Yeah.
They're dancing in the air.
The children, they think it's snow. They think it's snowing. The children are playing in the snow.
Well, that janitor I mentioned earlier who was fishing, they stayed up really late, taking advantage of that light to fish until they started to feel incredibly sick.
I've heard that tale, yeah. Yeah.
They're like, oh, this is ace, we can fish all night, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
They'll put the fire out. Fucking hell, you're looking very dark, you know.
Yeah.
Me mate, whatever your name
You're
is.
starting to glow a bit. Your face has gone really red.
Yeah, that was my favourite factor. Not favourite, it's pretty dark, but your skin, literally, after a few days, the burns don't really show at first. After a few days, your skin starts to turn literally black.
Oh, yeah.
And they call that the nuclear tan.
Wow.
How dark. What? Yeah, literally.
Yeah. The firemen responded and were told a roof fire was underway. They had no radiation protection, and in the rush, some didn't actually have jackets or helmets.
Wow.
But again, they didn't actually have any radiation suits or anything. Not that it would have done much good at the distance they're at, but they had...
Did the state just think that it would never happen?
But yes, exactly. There was a quote by some Russian member of the Politburo, their sort of councillor, and Gorbachev, and he was like, that 1 in 10,000 year chance. And he said that months before this happened. 1 in 10,000 year chance.
It's safe. Totally safe.
But remember, this has never happened. All these safety measures are in place to make sure that this doesn't happen. And it's happened. And I think that there's the reason that it, for 20 hours, was just burning away quite merrily, is that no one would just fucking accept the fact. I mean, Dyatlov sent 2 people to look at where the core used to be.
To actually go to the edge and have a look in.
Yeah. And they came back, faces red from the radiation exposure and burning, vomiting where they stand, and they're like, the core's gone. Nope, don't believe you.
God.
Don't believe you, it's impossible. And to the point where he went and had a look and still didn't believe it for himself and went down with radiation poisoning.
Yeah. He looked a bit of a state. I saw footage of him not long after the incident.
Yeah.
And he got some of it, didn't he?
Exactly.
Motherfucker survived though.
Yeah, he got a near lethal dose again. Fucker's indestructible. We should point out actually that he had did we mention it earlier or mention it off air where he had kind of a personal battle with the atom. He'd been working on Soviet nuclear reactors for submarines.
Yeah.
There was a radiation leak. He received a near fatal dose. His 10-year-old son died of leukemia, potentially because of his father's clothing which he came home in. And was therefore irradiated himself, and that's possibly one of the reasons why he saw it as like almost because he's seen it as like a personal battle between him and the reactor.
Yeah, crazy. Sounds a bit like Batman or somebody very damaged and obsessed and driven.
Yeah, yeah. And so firefighters basically start to hose water into the burning stack of nuclear fuel.
Right. What did this do?
Creates more steam, really.
more
smoke, more danger.
Horrible stuff being spread.
Also, the tanks underneath the emergency, which had kind of sort of been emptied by 2 engineers who went down there and opened them and died as a result of their radiation poisoning later on, it kind of refilled them because all they were doing was just pumping water into it. One of the things in the show which was really well done is one of the firefighters, and this is true, they put it into the thing, he picks up this chunk of black rock and the other guy's like, come on, get the fucking hose ready, sort it out, get on the game. Puts it down. Within sort of 30 seconds he's on the ground sort of screaming. They take his glove off and his hand is just red. He picked up graphite, which is the stuff that's just bombarded by uranium-235.
It's on the tip of the rods, isn't it?
Yeah.
That go forced down into the water, I guess.
Because none of these firefighters know what that is.
Why would they?
It's not their job, is it?
Maybe they do. Maybe you'd think if you were stationed near to a nuclear reactor, you might have some extra further training.
You would think that.
You would, wouldn't you? You'd like to. But this was 1986, Soviet. Was it actually? It was in the Ukraine, wasn't it?
The Ukraine, yeah. Soviet Union.
Yeah. So calling it Russia is not technically correct.
No, it was a satellite. It was a Soviet satellite state.
But you know what we fucking mean, listener. Oh, where was I going with that? Oh yeah, the firemen. Shit. You'd think, wouldn't you? Look, if this ever does happen, there's these materials you've not seen before. They burn in this way. Blah blah blah.
For God's sake, don't pick it up.
Yeah, don't touch anything. Don't expose.
Is it something like getting 4 million extra chest X-rays?
It was 10,000 chest X-rays.
Shit.
But this didn't happen. This had never happened. It was impossible.
What was Fukushima because of the
Earthquake.
Tsunami or earthquake?
Yeah, disrupted
That
the.
wasn't human error then.
No.
Right, so we have learnt from this.
Well, have we?
Well, we'll get into this next week.
Yeah.
But
Are we making
a little teaser. There was 12 RBMK reactors built, and I believe there's still a couple operated now.
Well, just don't turn them to low power.
That's basically what they do. We just don't turn them to low power now.
Based on the one documentary I've watched, my expert opinion is keep them turned all the way the fuck up.
All it takes is an earthquake, a hurricane, a tsunami, a tornado.
Or an arrogant man who wants promotion.
Yeah, or a terrorist.
That's true, terrorists. A lot of the guys said, well, the survivors, there's not many, but who were actually in the control room, I'm not sure who he was, but I saw interviews with him, but he was definitely one of the main dudes in there. And he survived with a lot of skin grafts and all that kind of, and he can't touch oil or petrol now.
Yes, he held the door open for people, didn't he? To go in, the 2 guys who went to look at the core, he actually held the door open for them.
And then he went back to look for them, I think, but he found the one dying on the floor and the other one was just fucking atomised, blown up. Anyway, fuck, I've lost my train of thought.
I saw the interview, the fucking miracle, he survived.
Yeah, absolute miracle.
He actually had he carried a guy out.
Awesome.
And this guy had been severely irradiated. And his hand had been loosely resting against his back.
Yeah.
They'd been carrying him over his shoulder. And when he put him down, this guy was dead. And he's like, oh shit. Then he felt his skin on his back, like really sort of hard. And he's like, oh fuck. It turns out perfect human handprint on his back. That's how irradiated these guys are. And these firefighters, right, they're trying to put out this fire. They're thinking it's a standard sort of job. A lot of them actually reported tasting metal, which is a thing with high levels of radiation. They didn't know.
Yeah.
And they literally walk into the damaged reactor building trying to put the fire out. Most would be dead in weeks from radiation poisoning.
The unlucky ones were dead years later.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think I'm not sure if I'd take the...
I'd rather die instantly than have
I've
3 years of operations and pain.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's have a look at this video about what radiation poisoning does to your body.
This would explain why I'd probably prefer to go quick rather than experience years of slow.
I don't know. If it's a cancer, alright, I still don't want that. I don't want what these guys go through because this is intense pain. I mean, I'll tell you a little bit. your body basically decomposes while you're alive,
From the
doesn't it?
inside
From the
out,
inside
yeah.
out. Your veins and arteries split open.
Oh,
You
sweet
can't even
bananas.
administer morphine
Yeah.
to numb the pain, which is at this point excruciating. You were in that Chernobyl drama. Whoever did the makeup in that show deserves some kind of award, because this guy, they've got him like he's just like melting into his bed effectively.
Shit. Oh,
The
here's
whole,
a quick.
the whole look of that show is amazing. Sorry.
Here's a quick question about that show, because I'm yet to watch it. Is it done in like English with Russian accents,
No.
or is it Russian with subtitles?
No,
English.
Just normal accents.
They've just kept the
Oh,
accent.
fair enough.
They
I prefer that.
He actually
sometimes.
spoke about that on the podcast about it. He
yeah.
said we tried it with Russian accents, and he goes, didn't really work. We
Yeah.
tried it with everyone doing a sort of vague Eastern European
Yeah.
accent, but the problem is you have with actors is they tend to act the role and emphasise accents more.
Yeah.
So in the end, we just said to people, just use your voice.
Yeah,
And
fine.
and it works. Although Scale, I can't remember his name now. He was in the Avengers films. He plays the doctor who hangs around with Thor, the Norwegian
Oh,
dude.
yeah, I like him. That
He
actor.
plays one of the main
And
characters.
he's got that accent
Yeah,
anyway, though.
but he grew up in Sweden, obviously, during this, and he said, like, in the years after, we couldn't eat wild mushrooms. We couldn't kill reindeer and eat them because they'd all been irradiated by this.
Fuck. Yeah, I did see a map that showed.
50,000 years it can last.
Jesus. So
We've
with
probably
the
all got this in us.
people in Britain. That's what I think. The map
Yeah.
it definitely covered Britain. So people in Britain could have had some kind of leukemia and cancer
Yep.
since 1986, and it literally came from because this fucking geezer wanted promotion.
That's it. You see the nuclear ash gets to the clouds, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Comes down as rain, and there you go.
Yeah, I mean, imagine being in Eastern Europe. I mean, you're not the kids outside.
Is one of the mutations that all the women are like really attractive?
It's a possibility.
We've both been to Poland. There's an abnormally high level of incredibly beautiful people. in
Shame
my
they've all got
opinion.
tumours.
Oof. Quite a lot of people walking around without thyroids as well.
Well, there's a few.
Oh shit.
It's true. It is. No, you can definitely. Well, the thing is, it's proven that this has increased cancer rates across not just Eastern Europe, Europe as a whole.
Motherfuckers.
You know, we'll never know the scale of this. Basically, you'll never know it.
Well, no. Not if it lasts
Right.
50,000 years.
Some of it's lasting 50,000 years.
Yeah.
Some of it's lasting a lot longer than that. But let's have a look at this video on radiation poisoning.
Yay.
See what it is. It's 4 minutes long. But it explains it a lot more eloquently than I can.
Ionizing radiation is like cupcakes. One cupcake, that's fine. 1,000 cupcakes at once, not fine. You've probably seen acute radiation poisoning on TV, people wrapped in bandages and such, but chances are you don't know what's going on there. So let's shed some visible light radiation on this mystery, shall we? There are a few kinds of radiation. Some is light or heat, but the kind that damages tissue is called ionizing radiation. Ionizing radiation comes in high energy waves like X-rays and gamma rays, or from nuclear material via particle decay. This kind of radiation can damage atoms, which can affect whole molecules like DNA, and that can affect your cells, organs, and eventually your whole body. For example, your cells are comprised of water, H2O, which, if broken apart by radiation, can reform as O2 or H2 or H2O2, hydrogen peroxide. Not great. Of course, this all depends on dosage. Theoretically, ionizing radiation has no safe dosage. When you get a dose of radiation, specialists use sieverts to calculate how much they used, and gray for the actual absorption of radiation into tissue. A dental or stomach x-ray might be like 8 milligrays, which isn't that many, or 8 millisieverts. Repeated low-level exposure, like in tanning or working near nuclear material, can cause cancer. But when lots of ionizing radiation hits you at once, which is what we're going to talk about, it causes acute radiation poisoning, which is serious, and it comes in 4 phases. First is prodromal. This is vomiting, nausea, diarrhea, anorexia, and more radiation makes this worse. It can hit you within a few minutes or days after an exposure. Second, you'd actually feel better. This is called the latent phase. You'd get over these flu-like symptoms, but you didn't actually get over them. If you'd had lab tests, they would show that you'd been poisoned by radiation. Then maybe weeks after that, bam, the manifest illness phase hits. That's when a bunch of bad stuff happens that we'll get into. And then 4 is recovery or death. If it's a low dosage, you can probably recover, though you may have a higher risk of cancer. However, above a certain point, the poop emoji hits the fan. Say someone was exposed to the equivalent of 125 abdomen x-rays all at once. Then they'd hit the lowest level of radiation poisoning. From 1 to 10 gray, the radiation penetrates tissue and kills bone marrow cells by damaging their DNA. No bone marrow means no replacement white blood cells in case of infection, no new red blood cells, no new platelets in case of injury. All of that is bad. It can cause death from infection or from blood loss. If your bone marrow is destroyed, you could get a bone marrow transplant, but even that only gives you a 50-50 chance. At more than 10 gray, at least 1,250 x-rays at once, cells in the gastrointestinal tract are killed, meaning the body can no longer absorb nutrients, causing electrolyte imbalances, dehydration, and worse. Once the GI tract shuts down, nothing can be done. Death is certain. Over 20 gray, 2,500 x-rays at once. It's not clear what happens, but doctors think your cardiovascular system and central nervous system swell with fluid thanks to damaged cells. In less than 3 days, the brain can't control the body anymore because of cell death, and that's all she wrote. Because radiation is damaging DNA at the atomic level, acute poisoning is very hard to treat. Radaway doesn't exist, but there are some treatments for some of the symptoms. For example, if you get an infection because your white blood cells are compromised, doctors can treat it. Same with the nausea, the burns, dehydration. We know a lot about this because of the disaster at Chernobyl and because of the bombs dropped on Japan to end World War II. Scientists entered the area studying the sick and documenting everything they could, but there's still a lot that we don't know. I mean, as scary as radiation can be, most of us will never get exposed to the dosages required to have to know all this stuff.
You hope.
But it's still kind of nice to know.
Yeah, it's in threads, mate.
That was so that's pretty comprehensive and simple. And I remember I heard it was 10,000 X-rays from holding that graphite. If you're holding it in your hand, I would imagine that. Yeah, you're probably a bit in the ballpark there, aren't you? You're exposed to it, and then you're holding it in your hand.
You're at the high end.
Yeah.
I imagine.
Ironically, if you work in the radiation industry, so you take X-rays at the hospital or you work in a power plant, you are only allowed so much per year for your working life.
Right.
So you might only be able to give, I don't know, 30 X-rays a year if you work in the NHS. Yeah.
Right.
And
Makes you wonder how safe this shit really is.
But it's fine as long you have like a lifetime level of radiation you can be exposed to.
Here's a schoolboy question, I'm afraid. I've never ever thought about this. Why does an X-ray, what's causing radiation in the X-ray machine? What's happening there?
It's radiation waves.
Oh.
Like your microwave is radiation waves.
Oh, right, okay.
X-rays,
It's a different.
aren't they?
Well, yeah,
It's
X-rays.
a different type that is like more harmful.
Yeah, so
Like my microwave's harmless to be, or is it harmless?
No.
Well, don't
it's
stand in
not.
front. I wouldn't stand in front of it if you want children.
It's harmless,
That's probably an urban myth. I don't know what it is.
I guess, with the cover on it.
Yeah.
But without the cover, now you'd be getting microwaves.
Fuck.
That's a form of radiation.
Yeah, I mean, remember what is a microwave oven doing? It is superheating the molecules in your food, using the superheating the water molecules in your food
Yeah.
to make them hot, to vibrate faster to make them hot.
Yeah.
Now, if there's no shielding on your microwave and you were stood in front of it for 10 minutes, maybe that's going to start making the water molecules in your body start to get hotter.
Yeah, okay. You've just reminded me of an awesome moment from the series The Osbournes.
I never watched it.
It's an epic moment.
I did watch it.
Ozzy's in the kitchen, and it's like a guy who works for him or somebody who's like just a normal guy, and he's explaining the microwave's on, and he's literally explaining what you just did to Ozzy. He's explaining to him why you've got to let the food rest after you've cooked it, because the molecules are literally still kind of moving and stuff still happening molecular level. And Ozzy's like, I want me dinner, not a fucking science lesson. Legend.
Yes.
Bless him.
After the firemen have tried to do their thing and all gone down with radiation poisoning, I mean, there's like, they're carrying their mates on stretchers and then collapsing themselves and vomiting everywhere.
Yeah.
It's basically who's kind of strongest in a way to make it back to an ambulance. They're taken to Moscow.
Right.
A hospital in Moscow.
Just shut him in a room for the night. You'll be alright.
Meanwhile, Pripyat civic leaders, who was that?
Wasn't me.
Mine hasn't lit up, so I assume it's not me.
What was you going to read out?
Is that you?
No.
Yeah?
No?
Yeah. It was, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'm sorry. At least it's so quiet. I didn't realise it would vibrate. I'm sorry.
So meanwhile, Pripyat civic leaders are called into a meeting with the management of the power plant and its chief engineer, and also local senior party members. And of course they say to them, don't worry, this facility is built to withstand a nuclear attack, this bunker, so we're quite safe down here. And they sort of say, don't worry, everything's fine. I've called comrade so-and-so, who's called comrade so-and-so, who's called governor so-and-so, and it's gone all the way to Gorbachev. And that's what you did in the Soviet Union. You passed shit up the ladder. So it's like, well, I don't want to deal with this. I'm passing the guy above me. I don't want to deal with this. I'm passing the guy above me until it gets to Gorbachev, who has got no one else to pass it on to. But the sort of the senior pioneer is like, yeah, remember that the state looks after the people. The state is the people. This is what we led to believe, and that sacrifice makes us great. There's nothing wrong here. The chief engineer is saying there's nothing wrong. The deputy chief engineer, who was in the control room, is saying nothing wrong. We wouldn't lie to you about this. And, they all live in the city. They live in Pripyat. And one of the younger guys does actually say, look, hey, we've seen the people outside vomiting. This is more deadly than you're letting on. And they still deny it. And in fact, they deny it so bad that they decided the best policy is that no one ever finds out about it. So they cut the phone lines to Pripyat, in and out. They seal the city off. And between 3,000 and 4,000 military policemen show up to enforce some kind of martial law, curfews going on.
At what point did they ship out the people who lived in the town?
That's a few days later.
For fuck's sake!
Meanwhile, in hospital, right, so the firemen they go to Moscow after they've been to the local hospital when they realise that it's radiation poisoning. The doctors there have got no idea. Right?
Never dealt with it before.
Very limited training on the subject. Considering they work in a city that's got a nuclear power plant next to it, these guys, some of the older doctors especially, have got no knowledge of radiation poisoning and the symptoms. It's not till a nurse says, no. I mean, she comes in and the doctor, and this is in the show and it's factually accurate, the doctor there is trying to treat this guy's radiation burns with milk because it's so better than water. It's an old wives' tale. But that's the level he's at.
Dear God.
So it wasn't until she realises that, hey, these are radiation burns, we need to get their uniforms off, because it's still burning them, which they do. They strip these guys down. They take all the uniforms down to the basement. The uniforms are still there, along with the hospital. Still highly radioactive.
Fuck.
Now remember, you had all the citizens and the civilians off the bridge who were watching it are in there as well, because they've got radiation poisoning.
Shit. I've got a quick question because the documentary I saw today showed reconstructions that it said were filmed on location, on location at Chernobyl. How's that possible? Because it was operational for a while afterwards, wasn't it?
You know what? They kept reactors 1, 2 and 3 running for a few days.
They called in the day shift, didn't they?
Yeah.
They were like, I get the day shift here early.
So
to keep it going. Yeah. It's like there's a meltdown practically at the plant.
So do you think it's
not a meltdown at this point?
I said practically.
Yeah.
So do you think maybe they've done tests and said to this film crew okay, you got 2 hours a day, or you've got a 2 hour limit.
Now at this point,
window. I'm not about that. This documentary was filmed pretty recently. I'm imagining, certainly not in the 80s or anything. So I don't know, because they definitely said it was filmed on location. So
they'd have filmed stuff.
No, I mean this recreation was like a whole movie that had been made. Before this new Chernobyl series, there's a documentary where they told the story dramatically, and it said it was filmed at Chernobyl.
Okay.
Did I mishear it?
Well, actually, to be fair, Reactor 3 only shut down in the year 2000.
There you go. So it's got to be safe for humans to be there for a certain amount of time.
Well, no, if you go as a tourist, you're going to get so close, I suppose, because they've probably radiation shielded the rest of it off to fuck, haven't they? You've got to have, otherwise, because you've got to run, unless you'd have to have 2 hours in.
Yeah.
and then you'd have to go back.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe there's a safe amount of time.
Yeah.
They had a small window to go in and film these scenes and then get out.
I think
It makes sense now because if one of the reactors was still operational, they were filming in there because all the machines were lit up and stuff like that. Things were working, so maybe that's been shielded, like you say, to a point because you can't run it yourself. There has to be humans there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
CCTV.
Oh, run it remotely. Did we have the tech?
No. I thought. Well, I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. We'll look into it.
Yeah, we'll look into
next
that.
week. Or you could look into it, listener, and let us know on our Facebook page, Cutting Through the Bull in the Post-Truth Apocalypse.
Yeah. So that's the greater good that the phone lines are cut and the city's sealed. No one gets in, no one gets out.
For the greater good.
Yeah.
For the greater good. And it's a 20-hour... So basically, there's a meeting in Moscow at this point. They know there's been an accident. And it's pertinent for the state to get involved when nuclear reactors are having accidents, isn't it?
It's in your best interest.
It's in your best interest. Is this going to do anything bad to our country?
Also, if you're maybe not at that time those people, but a right-minded person might be thinking about the consequences for the global community.
Yes.
Like, we fucked the world. Shit.
But also remember that the Soviet Union is a nation that's terrified of being humiliated, who is potentially going to be humiliated.
Yeah.
They're number one in the communist world. They're out there sticking their middle finger up to the West every day, saying, "Look at us, we've got nuclear power, we've got this, we've got that, we will bury you."
Well, I saw I saw a journalist saying today that he believes that sort of symbolically this disaster was the beginning of the end
absolutely,
of the Soviet Union.
Gorbachev himself's actually sort of mused on that. This was the beginning of the end for it. Because once you've shown that the state can't protect the people, it's kind of the end of communism.
Global embarrassment. We didn't have...
Let's not call it communism. It wasn't communism. Okay. It was state authoritarianism, if anything.
Well, my Polish friend, Damian, always told me that... Cause I asked him a bit, like... communism confuses me, because I tried to read and I got halfway through it when I was about 19, the manifesto. Anyway, I asked him about it and he really did not enjoy it, and it sounded pretty miserable to me.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
He's the same age as us, so a little bit older than us, so he can remember it. And he definitely was not a fan of it.
It's horrible.
Enjoy it.
Curfews.
But in theory, it sounds wonderful.
Because it wasn't...
They
What Stalinism is not what communism was meant to be.
Yeah.
You know, it's meant to be...
He abused the system, basically, for his own benefit. Like they all do in all systems.
In China, yeah.
And that's why communism will never work.
Well, there needs to be a new, purer form of it then, maybe.
Yep.
That someone needs to prove can work.
That's it.
You know.
Human nature survives communism working.
Greed.
Get rid of money, you don't have that problem.
Well, that's the thing.
Rules-based economy.
I said to our Mike, when we were off mic, that Chernobyl can basically be put down to money at its base element, because that guy, Dyatlov, he wanted the promotion. He wanted to do the test, to protect his career, to better his career, which comes down to money, status, power, but money.
Everybody was equal. Wouldn't have had that problem, would he?
Well, yeah, that's how...
Yeah, but if I'm the chief engineer at a nuclear power plant, I want to be a bit more rewarded than the janitor is.
What happens if everybody who's working there knows the stuff to the level that you do?
Yeah, but you still got someone to mop up. You still got someone to. I'm not mopping the fucking toilet floor after years of university, learn how a nuclear reactor works.
Everybody else does. It's in the building.
No, fuck that. I ain't doing it.
Take it in turns.
But would I want to mop I'm sorry, that's bollocks.
Even within their quote communist system, then it was still sort of capitalism at work, because, like we touched on earlier, the lower down workers at the plant, because they were janitors, they were maintenance men, they weren't all.
There are some companies that do that. They rotate the jobs.
Right, but they.
Yeah, you're not with the janitor as CEO, are you?
But those
maybe
people,
not that extreme. Everybody cleans a factory. Everybody takes turns on a rota.
That's
everybody's equal.
But no, it sounds. I'd go for it, maybe. But right, what was that town called that they built for the workers to live in? Pripyat. That was where the workers lived. The higher ups, your top engineers, they were living in the city of Chernobyl in really nice houses. And actually, so even though it's quote communism, there's still incentive to climb the corporate ladder, because it's obviously not really communism, is it?
Well, that's more of a meritocracy at that rate, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Well, it's
I
not
guess that's
meritocracy, is it?
Well, it's not based on ability. It's based on your ability to climb the ladder. I guess.
But
So only psychopaths get to the top, just like our society.
Just like
but
this
in
geezer.
proper communism, you're pointing at me.
No,
I thought you were pointing at me then, just like you over there.
Sorry, I was pointing at your notes.
You ain't at the top, mate. At the top.
I was pointing at your notes because I can't say the fucker's name.
Dyatlov.
Dyatlov. Him. He's a psycho.
Think of Dyatlov Pass where them skiers got killed by the
There you
Yeti,
go.
allegedly.
Yeah, or they all got like space crazy and like
That's the one.
fucked each other and ran off into the cold and died
Yeah,
because they had some really strong acid.
that's a possibility too.
I honestly think acid is at the root of the truth to a lot of conspiracies.
Yeah, you probably got a point to be fair.
Betty and Barney.
Yeah, maybe. That was aliens, obviously.
The Italian aliens that cook pancakes.
Oh yeah. No, that was just an old racist southerner who didn't know what foreign people looked like.
He came to me and he said in this weird voice, "Give me what, please." I say he's a fucking alien or some shit. But I ate the pancakes. They were good. Look the story up, listener, if you the last 2 minutes really confused
Yeah,
you.
weird alien encounters. It's my birthday episode.
There you go.
Hey. Yeah, so there's a meeting in Russia, in the Politburo. A guy called Valery Lugazov is brought in. He is head of the nuclear university in Belarusia. And he's reading the report and he's like, he realises at that point that fireman's picked up graphite off the floor.
Right.
He says there's a casualty report. And he's like, one of the firemen was burnt on the hand after picking up a smooth black rock. And he thinks, fuck me, that's graphite. The core's exposed. The core's blown. Remember, at that point, no one can explain how this reactor core has blown. I can't stress this enough, how much they didn't want to believe it had happened. I can't stress it enough. I'm going to keep saying it, just to stress it more.
You mean someone just let it explode?
Because these things don't explode. They're designed not to explode. And it's not a nuclear reaction when it does explode. It's a thermic reaction. Because nuclear cores don't go off like an A-bomb.
No.
They're not. That process isn't there for them to do that.
That's why it wasn't like a... Because that would have been a hell of a lot worse if like the Hiroshima mushroom cloud went up. Then that Piet, wherever it's called, wouldn't be there.
Well,
then you'd at least know what it was. I mean,
yeah. When you 50,000 citizens just get wiped off the map.
Yeah.
Remember, actually, we'll get to this. We'll end the show on this because it's pertinent to the end of the show. So we'll
Hey,
save that
look,
discussion.
I'd rather go in that fucking nuclear cloud than go like the firefighters.
Me
went.
too. I was saying that earlier. I don't want that slow. I don't want my skin melting into the bed sheets.
My veins literally dissolving in my body.
I would be saying to the nurse, "Shoot me, nurse, please. Please kill me, nurse.
Stove me head in with that shot.
One last hand job, then kill me, please. Please. Oh, my tongue will fall off. Oh, no tongue." Yeah. No, I don't want months of that. Like you say, Matt, I'll go out in a blaze of cock in hand.
Yeah. Basically, Gorgeous says to a guy who's the head of energy resources, a guy called Boris Sabina, Comrade Sabina, because he's a high up party member. Well, you could call anyone comrade.
Everybody, yeah.
It was a formal thing.
It was the common thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. There you go. And have a look. And because you're getting conflict. You're head of the Soviet Union. You've got this nuclear physicist, nuclear engineer who knows his reactors, who knows his stuff, saying this ain't fucking good. And then you've got your party members down on the ground, your lower party members, saying, "Nah, don't worry about it. There's no problem." But they could be looking to save their own skin.
It's very true.
Because this is a bit of a black mark against you, innit? Oh,
Just a bit.
on our watch, a nuclear reactor exploded. You're not going to tell people, are you?
Criminal negligence, I think they could.
Yeah,
But everyone's
absolutely.
trying to save their asses. But just briefly, so the comrade thing. So if Hulk Hogan was Russian,
Yeah.
he would be saying, "Well, let me tell you something, comrade."
Yeah.
Ah, cool.
I'm surprised they never did a heel turn with him when he went Russian. got Manchurian candidated by somebody.
Oh, bless him. Soviet Hulk Hogan.
I want to see Soviet Hulk now. I'd like to think there was.
The big boot.
Would it be a jackboot?
The big jackboot to the face. Comrade.
Oh.
Bearskin boot, probably.
Yeah.
All the matches would be outside.
Well, yeah, in the Russian wilderness.
Barbed wire ropes around trees.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Soviet Hogan. Somebody write that comic book. I need it. They did it for Superman. They did a whole story about what if Superman was Russian.
That's right,
If he landed
yeah.
in the US. Red Krypton, I think it's or red. Oh fuck knows. Yeah. Anyway, so do it for Hulk Hogan. Soviet Hogan. I want that.
Conrad Hogan.
I want the movie.
Listen up, comrade. The 24-inch pythons will crash you.
What was that fucking name of that chemical in the Area 51? Was it Moscovium?
Moscovium. Wow.
Yeah, it was Moscovium. So I do think that Hulk Hogan's like, take your Moscovium. No, eat your vitamins, take your Moscovium. Because you can't say your prayers, it's an atheist country.
Okay. Take your vitamins. Oh, man. And pray to the...
You can't pray.
What's he called, though? The Prime Minister?
Well, I suppose you could wish wish him good health or something like that, couldn't you? Whatever it's called.
Good
Chief
health.
He was the Chief Secretary of the Communist Party.
So, eat your vitamins.
Take your Moscovium.
Take your Moscovium and pray to the Chief Executive of the country.
And thank Lenin. That's what you say. Thank Comrade Lenin.
With the power of Lenin on my side, comrade, I will crush you.
Like capitalism.
Just like we defeat capitalism. I will pin you 1, 2, 3. Comrade.
Well done.
Thank you. Of all the tangents. Wow.
They fly in and immediately recognise there's graphite on the roof.
Fuck, on the roof.
On the roof.
The roof.
So the roof is radiating.
Nuclear fire. We don't need no water, it will make it more burn. Oh fuck, it's burn.
The Bloodhound Gang version is a definitive version of that for me. I'm sorry.
I like some of the Bloodhound Gang stuff.
Yeah, it's alright.
Actually.
It's okay. Basically, the chiefs of the plant had convinced themselves and everybody that radiation levels weren't that high. But 3.99 rems, which sadly is not. Well, it's not that high above background radiation. It's like a few X-rays releasing. That's fine. Problem is, the smaller devices they were using only went up to 3.99 rems.
Or maxing out.
Or maxing out. The reality is very different. It was actually about 15,000. And they figured that out when the Soviet troops who were kind of more equipped to deal with this kind of thing, not, let's say, fully equipped, but a bit more equipped. They probably had some suits and they had equipment to measure. Actually, you had to strap the radiation measuring machine to the front, drove it as close as they dared, covered it in lead, had the full suit on, truck covered in lead, right, oh yeah, comes back, gets decontaminated, it's 15,000.
Oh man.
And that smoke cloud is drifting off towards, well, all over Europe. That's releasing the radiation of the Hiroshima bomb, 2 times the radiation of a Hiroshima bomb every single hour.
Shit.
And it has been burning for 20 hours.
Oh God almighty.
It won't burn itself out for thousands of years. It's highly lethal. It could lay waste to the entire...
Hang on. The core is still burning.
Yeah.
Right now.
It's not as hot as it was, but yes, it's still burning.
Holy fuck, I didn't know that. That's a result of nuclear...
Fission. Unchecked nuclear fission.
So it's just smouldering away. It's still pumping it up there.
The radiation, it's sealed off. We'll cover this next episode. But yeah, they
no way on Earth to put it out.
It's been put out to the point where they can construct what they call the sarcophagus over the top.
Right.
Largest movable object made by man. He's built this massive concrete dome in 2 halves and just wheel it over. They wheeled it over.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if I was a supervillain, I could punch it open
And release all that, yeah.
That's why nuclear waste's a problem.
And in, I don't know,
Doesn't go away for thousands and
What if
and
you dumped it in the
remember,
ocean?
remember the first sarcophagus they built over this lasted about 50 years.
Okay.
Bit of a bodge job built on site, but Soviet concrete. They love their concrete.
They do.
But I think it was 5 years ago, they had to put the new one over the top.
Right.
And this one they reckon is going to last a couple of 100 years. And then they've got to build another over the top of that.
Holy fuck. So
This
eventually we'll end up with something that's like as big as fucking
Unless we
Everest.
unless we figure out a way to completely
Death Mountain.
disperse radiation without any harmful effects,
I just
they're
don't
going to
know.
have to keep patching up these things or building new ones.
So for thousands of years, the embers of this fire are going to simmer and smoulder.
Yep.
And if it was releasing its radiation, it's going to lay waste to first Europe and then the world. It's never happened before. This isn't in the history of the planet. It's never happened.
So a really subtle and insidious terrorist attack could be to blow up the concrete domes and just release the pent-up radiation.
In theory. But
I don't want to put fucking ideas
but
in anybody's
in all
head.
fairness, they'd probably be very dead before they even managed to set the bombs off.
Hey, a lot of these
'Cause, I
terrorist
mean, that area-
guys, that's not a problem
That
for
area
them.
is still really radioactive. You know, to the point where you can spend, I think, maybe 30 minutes tops.
People go. I've seen some photos of the.
Yeah, you can go on. You can go on. I'd love to go
Of
and
the
see it.
town.
I'd love to.
I'd prefer to look at the pictures. It's incredibly eerie, isn't it? Like the kiddies' playgrounds and stuff that are just like haven't moved, been touched for 30 years.
Well,
We'll touch on that.
I'll get to it now. I'm
Episode,
going to do the I'm literally at the evacuation now.
Okay.
April 27th. 2 days. Pripyat is evacuated. 1,000 buses from Kiev. Virtually every single fucking bus in the city of Kiev is sent to evacuate the 50,000 people that live there.
Fuck me.
They were told, and it was a very calm, efficient Soviet way. Everyone just got on the bus. So, yeah, bring one suitcase, leave your pets at home, we'll be back soon.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, though.
Yeah.
They're not going to be back home anytime soon.
So many mutant cats.
Well, next week we'll get to the liquidation side of things, which, wouldn't fancy that job myself.
No, watching that bit in the series was hard.
It was. I actually nearly turned the episode off. I will sit there and watch men die from radiation poisoning, but the second anyone's got to shoot a dog, I'm out. I am fucking out.
I heard an interesting point about cause we had an brief AI discussion. I'll keep it quick. Like, one of the problems with AI that we've got, this professor is saying, is from our end, is we humanise them and think, oh, the little robot, and like we project emotions onto them and stuff.
Yeah.
And like he proved it like at some conference. There's a really cute robotic seal which is given to like trauma victims and elderly people, and he just started fucking beating it to death on stage, and people were gasping and shrieking and crying and like. Oh, and he's like, it's a fucking thing. It's not. It's a robot. So anyway, so socially speaking, let's say you grab a cute teddy bear and rip its head off.
Yeah.
In front of everyone, they'll be like, yeah, he's a bit.
A sociopath,
psycho,
yeah.
But a fly or a bug is in the room, and you can fucking murder him as much as you want. A living, actual thing, and everyone's just like, yeah.
Yeah, get that bitch.
It's weird, isn't it? We project like oh the teddy, but like the living creature comes and like, fuck him, I'm human, I'm more than him. Came to my domain, he died, that's it. We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a weird tangent again, I'm sorry.
Can we have a quick piss break after that tangent? Because
I've derailed the entire thing all episode.
we'll move on to how they're going to put this
highly-
fire out.
Highly stoned. And I'm learning about nuclear fires. It's good.
Yeah. So after that brief tangent, Legazov explains that the only way to put out this fire, this belching, this black smoke into the air, full of radiation,
Piss on it.
is not to piss on it, funnily enough. You drop...
Don't piss on the nuclear fire.
No, what you do is you drop sand, boron and lead onto the fire. But, because there's a massive plume of black smoke erupting into the sky, you can't do that by hand.
Right.
You can't fly a helicopter directly over the top because it's virtually instant death. Or certainly tomorrow.
Yeah.
Plus, the intense radiation would probably destroy the helicopter.
Or if he just gets sick and blacks out and it crashes into the ground, killing everyone
Yeah,
looking up at it.
yeah. So they need 5,000 tons, and they've got to let the wind carry it in.
What?
Yeah, because they can't fly directly over the top. They've got to approach upwind, let it go as, I think it was a 10-metre exclusion zone around the smoke. And they had to let the wind take it.
Did it work?
Yeah.
Fuck it, huh?
I couldn't find a figure for how much sand, lead and boron they actually dropped to get the fire out. Well, didn't put it out, it just covered it over enough so the radiation escaping was a damn sight less than it was.
That sounds like a fun game though for the helicopter pilot. You know, I'm going to fly in, pull up, release at just the right point before we hit the deadly radiation and my face melts off into the controls.
Yeah.
And the
I
helicopter...
bet it wasn't that fun while you were doing it though.
You know what these flyboys are like.
The trouble with putting sand and boron onto it is it melted it and turned it into a lava.
Yeah, he knew this would cause another problem, but it's like, well,
The
priority...
overflow and leak
They got
everywhere.
nuclear lava.
Oh shit!
Well, priority
That is metal.
is to stop the radiation.
Yeah, I guess.
But he knew this create this problem, but what can you do?
Well, he needs to save the world, basically.
He's bought some time.
Bought some time.
But he thought he'd bought a few weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
As it turned out, they hadn't.
At what point did the international community
well-
say, "Oi, you fucking clowns, let us do it"?
I am literally just about to tell you about that.
Okay.
April 28th.
Right.
A Swedish power plant worker sets off a radiation detector at his plant. He has got a piece of radioactive ash from reactor number 4 stuck on the bottom of his boot.
Shit.
At this point, this sets into motion radiation monitoring stations in Sweden, who report radiation levels 40% higher than normal.
Whoo.
Shit.
40% higher than normal. Kids aren't allowed out in the streets in Germany. Well, mostly across Eastern Europe, in all fairness. But remember, the exclusion zone at this point is 30 kilometres.
What's that in
30
English?
kilometres. 20 miles tops.
Okay. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. The Soviet government is at this point forced to admit there has been a major nuclear incident, but hey, don't worry, it's all under control.
Boris has got this. Please ignore my 3 thumbs.
At this point, reactors 1, 2 and 3 are still churning away, pumping out electricity.
They need their power.
This is what you've just hit the nail exactly on the head. This facility powers Kiev. It's a major city.
Yeah.
Powers the surrounding areas. They can't afford to stop those reactors working.
How are the guys doing who were working in those?
Well, only 31 people died in the facility,
Right.
and that it does include
Still a lot.
firemen. Still a lot, still too many.
Yeah.
But, well, 1 is too many. I'd imagine by this point they're in the suits, they're getting decontaminated, they're being
Right.
bussed in lead-lined
They have them pills.
trucks.
That they should
They've got
have
the
had
pills.
in the first
They've got every
place.
precaution they could possibly have
Right.
because they've got to keep these things running.
Fuck.
On April 29th, US spy satellites give the West their first glimpse of the devastation. Have you seen the pictures of the burning reactors taken from above? Reactor 4 is just blown out. The roof's gone, the sides collapsed. It's blatantly something more than a bit of a radiation leak has happened there.
It's just a fire pit. I've just had a stunning revelation in my mind though. Do you think the song "We Didn't Start the Fire," it was always burning since the world was turning, was this written in response to Chernobyl, or did it come out before then?
Good question.
Because it is all about the 80s, isn't it, that song?
Yeah, it could be then.
Never know. I
Maybe.
literally had no idea they would just burn forever, man.
Well, it's
The
gonna
same
be-
thing happening
no,
in Fukushima then.
How the half-life of the fuel is, and that's a half-life. I think the half-life
Does
of
it burn or
Chernobyl.
is it just leaking radiation?
It leaks, but it's still hot. It's never
Yeah.
going to go out because there's still the half-life is how long those neutrons are firing off.
Yeah.
How many neutrons have been released until that becomes spent.
Did Fukushima set on fire? I can't remember.
I don't remember now.
No, I think it was more that the tsunami and earthquake just like kind of. I'm not sure if that
Broke
sort of
it open,
broke it open. Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, is that the difference? Because Chernobyl was on fire. That's the element that's like. That's why. What did you call it? A
thermic reaction. Yeah.
Like that's what's fucked the world by sending so much of it beaming up into the air. I mean, it sucks. I was born in '83.
So we were 3 when this happened. We've probably inhaled this stuff as kids.
But there's traces of it in our bodies.
I'd agree with that. I think in Europe, I would imagine that everybody born in the 80s as a child, has inhaled this stuff as a child.
Yeah.
When it's
Not
going to
spread even further.
Doses that wouldn't do anything to you.
Yeah, I'm saying, but it's going to be in my body, isn't it?
It's definitely interacted with your body.
Microbes of it. Fucking nuts, man.
Yeah.
This was a massive fuck up on a monumental, and I couldn't believe, because obviously all I knew about this was a nuclear power plant blew up and that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I knew no details, and watching that reconstruction today, I was fucking floored by the fact that it was down to human sort of social bullshit. Do you know what I mean? Of like, I'm your fucking boss, do as I say, but we're telling you categorically it's not safe to run at that level. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
I'm your boss, I want the test done, run it.
You're all incompetent. You can't run the reactor at that level because you're
calling
incompetent.
Them idiots and stuff, and he'd already been in trouble for talking that way to his employees. Even back then in Soviet 80s Ukraine, he'd been in trouble for talking to his fucking colleagues like dog shit. Basically, and he was calling them morons. You know nothing. I'm in charge. Listen to me, and that's what it comes down to: the poisoning of half the fucking world, and it fired 1,000-year nuclear smouldering fire that'll never be put out. That we've got to continuously build increasingly big concrete fucking bowls over. Is all down to some fucking bellend who wanted to climb the fucking ladder and prove who was the big dick in the fucking control room. Like, you answer to me.
Bang on.
Dick.
It's all down to man's hubris.
Yeah, you couldn't write this shit, could you? True life truly is stranger than fiction, man. Like, fuck me. And then the refusal for days afterwards, like, no, it's not that bad.
Now, 20 hours, twice, the equivalent of 2 Hiroshima bombs worth of radiation.
Just been spat
spewed
out, spread.
I mean, birds were dropping out the sky dead.
So the kids in Sweden who can't go in their homes, birds dropping out the sky, like I said.
But that was over the immediate area, not.
But I mean, the point is, all that kids in Sweden and Germany stuck in their homes, all down to one man's fucking psychological need to have one up on the people below him, and to get this fucking test done. And
I think as well because he'd had that incident, and I suspect he blamed himself for his son's death in some way.
He probably should.
I think that was his. No, this nearly killed me, and it took my son, but I'm its fucking boss.
Yeah.
It does what I say, and he was like he was fighting this personal war with it in a way. But unfortunately, the war was already fucking lost when we started fighting it, because the second that core explodes, there's jack shit he can do apart from obviously to raise the fucking alarm and set things in motion a bit sooner.
A lot of the workers there assumed that it was a war.
Yes, they did. They thought that the Americans had started bombing them.
They didn't think, someone's just fucked with the settings and done something really stupid which made it blow up. Somebody must have attacked us, which I think is a fairly safe thing to assume, because I honestly was floored when I realised the actual truth of what it came down to.
Yeah.
Honestly, gobsmacked, but...
So you're terrified? Was you terrified when you were watching? Cause I was fucking freaking out. Jesus, this could have been And, well, as we'll find out, things are going to get worse.
Could have been the end of the world.
Well, it could have very been close to it. I mean...
The end of half of it.
May the 1st, this is the big parade day in the Soviet Union. It's the Workers' Day, May the 1st. It's the Workers' Bank Holiday.
Right.
It's when when you're a kid and you see the tanks and the missiles going through Red Square.
Right, okay.
Pictures of Lenin and Stalin are being paraded down, and all the tank. That's the big parade. And they continued. They said no. They refused to cancel it.
Oh.
In Kiev and Minsk, the radiation is continuing unabated. They're dropping that stuff, but it ain't going. The thing is, when they dropped it on, it dropped, and they went yay, and then it went back up again. And they went oh shit, and then it dropped again. Right. So it's like, but May 1st, that radiation's still pumping out of that. They've only been doing this for a few days. 5,000 tons they've got to get onto that. And then how many are they hitting? They're letting the wind take it in.
Like I said,
You ain't getting full hits, are you?
Yeah, it's going to be a very difficult thing to pull off, to release it close enough for the wind to carry it, yet without getting close.
And if there's no wind that day...
And I bet a lot of pilots just realised,
bottled it?
I'm going to get ill. Or, well, either way, either maybe bottled it and came up short because they didn't want to get any closer, or thought, fuck it, I'll get ill. It's for the greater good.
Greater good.
Maybe there were some hero pilots that day. I don't know.
I think everyone that went to do anything there is a hero in some way, because, I mean, they've had their lives significantly shortened by being that close to that.
Yeah.
I know it's probably what you're going to go into next week, so I'm just looking for a short answer, because the documentary I watched today basically ended at the end of the night, basically, or the day after. It didn't go into the place now or future repercussions. Were there a lot of more ill people in the surrounding areas in the following years?
Well, remember they declared that quarantine zone.
20 miles.
I won't give you a 30, about 20 miles, 30 kilometres. I won't give you a quick answer because there isn't one.
Okay.
But the scale of what you have to do to cleanse an area, even just to leave it uninhabitable, is phenomenal. I will tell you how big the exclusion zone is now at the end of the show.
Okay, but if people, like, say in Sweden, are getting cancer and stuff, is there any way, can they know that it's, can there be tests done to say, this is from radiation?
I think they can. I think that every, because shipments of stuff like that, of uranium, procurement of uranium is monitored. A lot of uranium comes from Australia.
Apart from the briefcases that went missing.
Apart from those are nuclear weapons.
How do you make uranium?
It's all nuclear material.
The nuclear material, but they made them for.
Briefly, how do you make uranium?
I suppose
You make it, you find it.
Yeah.
What, you find like glowing?
No, you have to do is you have to put it in a centrifuge.
Yeah, you separate. You spin it and spin it and spin it and spin it,
So it's
and
from
that
rock.
breaks off stable neutrons and isotopes, which leaves you with the more radioactive ones stuck to the.
Yeah.
So you create.
And then you do it again and again, and you keep
Yeah.
repeating the process over.
So
and
that
over
thing
again.
that Homer Simpson holds in his hand at the start of The Simpsons,
Yeah.
it's glowing. You don't find that
No.
in the ground. That's what you're not glowing mines.
No.
So uranium is a man-made thing, technically speaking.
We make it unstable, I think, don't we?
The centrifuge makes it unstable,
Yeah.
splitting off stable atoms
Is
from
it
it, leaving
so-
you with the unstable atoms.
Is it so valuable because of rarity or difficulty to produce?
Difficulty, although
Right.
And possibly rarity, I don't know about that.
well, most of the world's uranium comes from Australia.
And Niger and there's other
A
places.
specific type of rock then has to be put into this.
It's an element.
centrifuge.
Yeah,
An element that you
It's
extract.
an element. It's made in
But
stars.
do you
It's like
extract it
gold
from
and
rocks though?
oxygen element. Eh?
But do you extract it from what do you extract it from? How do you
Underground,
find it?
yeah, we find it.
So in rocks,
Yeah.
and then you put them in the spinning machine
Yeah.
and separate the uranium. So you've got to test the rocks to know if it's in there in the first place.
Yeah,
So
I
I
don't
guess
know.
it's all expensive,
Yeah,
high-end
it can
stuff.
take. I think you have
So
to
money.
you have to have massive quantities of it as well. I mean,
Right.
it's something like 20 grams of uranium will get you 1 gram of nuclear material, but that 1 gram can last you 60, 70 years,
Or make a bomb.
or make a bomb. Well, that would bomb grade is less than this.
Right.
'Cause it
It's
only
gotta
has
be
to
clean
explode.
to make power.
It has to be cleaner to make power.
Okay, I'm learning a lot this week. Stuff that I suppose you should really think about that I just never do. I take power for granted. We live next to a power station in our town, but it's a
Coal-fired.
and it's not going to be there
Actually,
much
no,
longer.
isn't it? We've actually been without coal in this country now for 2 weeks. We haven't used it.
Yeah, because they're knocking it down fairly soon. So that is using the same principle of burning coal to create steam to power turbines, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I heard some guy say earlier in that documentary, running a one of the guys in charge was from an electric power plant.
Yes, he
And
got his
they-
he got his nuclear engineer certificate through the post
And they were
basically.
taking the piss out of him in the little film behind his back, like the workers. They were like, they said that he said running an electric power plant is like turning on an electric kettle, like, in principle, you're turning on a hot thing to make the steam
Yeah.
and get electric that way. And he's a fucking idiot. Like, why is he here? But, well, there you go.
Yeah, the chief engineer literally got a postal document like doing the Open University, effectively.
So if we're not using coal anymore, is it all nuclear?
No.
Nuclear and other
solar.
Yeah.
Wind.
solar, wind.
I see a lot of wind on my travels. Wind
Gas,
turbines.
probably still maybe.
But it's all around the same principle of burning something off to turn a turbine.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
Often solar.
bomb solar.
Well, yeah, of course, which makes absolute sense. But we've got them at work. Somebody drove past once and was like a salesman, and for once it actually was a benefit because he just took my boss sort of outside and said, look, that section of your roof there in your warehouse, look at the fucking sun it gets every time the sun comes up for a certain amount of hours. What is it, south facing or whatever you call it, where you get shitloads of sun, the sunrise and all that. You know, just put some on there and don't pay an electric bill again. Which, running a big warehouse, it makes fucking...
Well, now imagine
sense.
Well,
that you don't have any power costs.
I'd love it.
Yeah. But
If
we
I
can make houses now that produce more power than they use.
If they
So why is
government
that
dish
not-
them out, because
Yeah.
then they'll lose making money. I know what it's all about. Of course,
I know,
we
yeah.
know that, it's rhetorical, I know. But
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
so sickening in a way when you realise. And it's pretty mad that I pull in the warehouse every day and I'm looking at them on the roof, like, because I don't notice them often. I'm like, oh yeah, it's fucking ace that he did that, because like, I suppose he'd make one day have to pay some sort of maintenance on them if they need.
they last about 10-15 years, I think.
Never paying a lecky bill again to keep all the lights on in a giant warehouse, and it's all just from what's there naturally in the sun. It's all ridiculous that we pay for it, isn't it?
Where I work has
Put 'em on
got
every roof.
1,319 solar panels on
Wow.
the roof. It's the
Fair
third
play.
largest in the country. Because
Good on them, man.
it was cynical. They got them for free
Oh,
because and
Promotion.
also roof repairs thrown in
right.
because you can get deals where you get some stuff and give some back to the grid,
Yeah, there's
and so you
excess
don't
stuff.
earn as much as you would if you bought them outright. So that's what they did. They did that deal, but we still power. I think because all our forklifts and anything, well, most stuff runs on batteries. So you have to change. All that gets paid for basically. All our battery charging needs are taken care of.
So that would be, and there's no way that solar can ever blow up and poison the entire globe.
No.
But as I've realised today, through my research, it's a definite possibility with nuclear power. And
It's a very low possibility though. Remember, the
but it's
reason
possible.
that they were in denial for this for so long is because this didn't happen.
But look at Fukushima. You
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah, but that was a
account
tsunami.
That's what I'm saying. You
Yeah,
can't
no, but
account
it
for
doesn't
that
matter,
shit.
does it?
You can't
Yeah.
account for that. But they did build it on the
Earthquakes.
coast because most nuclear power plants are built by water sources because they've always got that supply of water to be
Yeah.
pumped in to cool the core. So most of them are built near water sources. Japan decided to build on the coast. What's the chance of a tsunami happening and hitting that power plant? It's probably the same as this happening, 1 in 10,000 years.
But still,
I'm not saying we should use nuclear power. Well, maybe we should to a point, just not have as many. But
No need,
rely
there's no
on
need now.
yeah, but you need to rely on something where you get the renewable stuff kicking in, don't you?
Yeah, but we got a technology now. It's just the will.
I suppose the sickening thing, Mike, on that point, if you really think about it, is that the governments of the world and power companies of the world, people in charge, people benefiting from selling power.
Yeah.
I mean, we all benefit from having it, but the people who
The 1%
benefit
of the
from selling
1%
it,
that own the
Right.
stocks and the companies.
so they are sort of in a way saying, well, there's a risk. There is a risk something could go wrong and it could literally kill hundreds of
mate,
thousands,
Shell knew
millions.
in
But
1985 about climate change, and they
Not even
suppressed it.
But not even climate change, mate. Just like what happened at Chernobyl. The risk of it, if something goes wrong, it's a very low risk. But if something goes wrong, potentially millions of people are fucked, right, for thousands of years. Man, it'll be alright.
Yeah, money's rolling in.
So let's
what's
yeah,
the
we're
matter?
making money. Money's coming in. Be alright. We could give everyone. We could use all this money we have stored up. Give everyone solar power, and have like just a free, safer, healthier
That's
world.
it. You
But
buy the
then-
lobbyists to the government.
But they don't want that.
You basically write the policy and say, look, we're sticking with nuclear
Yeah.
Coal.
Money, 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 money.
I'm going to stick like a 20 quid note in Mike's mouth or something.
Everybody's got their price.
Hey?
Ted DiBiase, when he beat the guy,
Yeah,
he'd always stick a
stick
$20
the
bill in
money
the
in
mouth.
the mouth.
So we're going to beat up Mike and stick a
Lovely.
20 quid note
My
in his mouth.
favourite.
Although Mike got to get beat up for 20 quid, no fairness.
Have you ever seen the
I
clips?
could eat them.
Have you seen the very early clips when he with the $1 Million Man get a kid out of the crowd and he'd be like, if you could bounce this basketball, and I'm talking like a 5-year-old kid, like a little toddler kid, if you could bounce this basketball 5 times in a row, I'm going to give you $200 right here, right now. And he's got the money and the kid's like, oh yeah. Gets it out and he bounces it twice and the $1 Million Man just boots the fucking ball. And then he stuffs some money in his pocket and just does his laugh right in the kid's face. And the kid's crying. This little tiny black kid, he's devastated.
He's really never seen $200.
It's in front of thousands of people. Oh, he was fucking brilliant.
He
Love
sounds
me.
like a cunt.
Oh, he was the $1 Million Man. What a character! Come on.
He sounds like a right cunt.
Do you know where he comes from? That character.
Scrooge McDuck.
Quick tangent. Vince McMahon, when he worked for his father, when his father owned the company, dreamed of being a wrestler, but his dad forbade it and would never let him. And he had his own character made up and everything, the $1 Million Man.
Ah.
Because he could never have it, he passed the gimmick on to Ted. And because it was Vince's gimmick, that's why the $1 Million Man was promoted a lot, and he had all them awesome vignettes where he'd do ace stuff.
Yeah, but he was also shit.
He was a really good
He never won a
wrestler.
belt.
He bought the belt.
He bought a belt. He bought his $1 million belt. He never fucking won anything. He never won the
he bought the heavyweight title.
When? I don't remember
Right?
that.
One of the best storylines in wrestling history. Dave Hebner, the wrestler, has a twin brother who works for a different company.
Right.
So as a child, imagine this. Hulk Hogan's wrestling Andre for the belt. Dave Hebner jumps out the ring, or he's grabbed out the ring, I can't remember. His twin brother appears from under the ring.
Right.
Does a dodgy quick count on Hogan. Hogan loses the belt to Andre. And then Hogan does this epic, you should look it up one day. He's got both of them, the twin brothers, one by one, like one in one arm, one in the other arm, holding their shirts, just going like, huh? And looking at each one. And it is genuinely, when you're a kid, like, what the fuck is happening? There's 2 Dave Hebners.
And then even Earl Hebner, the referee.
Earl's the other brother.
Ah.
So, turns out the storyline is the $1 Million Man paid for somebody to have plastic surgery to look like the ref.
Ah.
Then paid Andre to give him the belt, and he was the world's heavyweight champion for a little bit, but then he lost it.
Easily, I'd imagine. Easily. Anyway.
Sorry to the listener who isn't an 80s wrestling fan.
So yeah, do
Get used to it, that's our show.
Do apologise. So anyway, on the 1st of May, they also made a horrible discovery.
Right.
The tanks that they thought were empty underneath the burning reactor core, which is slowly, that lava has been turned into, is slowly melting down to, are still full of water.
From the fireman.
From the firemen. It's a lot of water, so basically, 10 days after the Chernobyl meltdown, engineers learned of a new threat, nuclear steam explosions. The plant's water cooling system had failed and a pool had formed directly under the highly radioactive reactor. With no cooling, it was just going to be a matter of time before a lava-like substance created by the boron, sand and lead
Blew up like a volcano.
melted through the remaining barriers, dropping the reactor's core into the pool. These are tanks underneath the reactor for cooling.
Yeah.
They've been filled back up by the firemen. If this had happened, it would have set off steam explosions, firing radiation high and wide in the sky, spreading across parts of Europe, Asia and Africa. Our experts studied, quote, the possibility and concluded the explosion would have had a force of 3 to 5 megatons, said Soviet physicist Vasily Nestrenko. Minsk, which is 320 kilometers from Chernobyl, would have been razed and Europe rendered uninhabitable.
Oh my God.
So you think you're winning the battle. Hey, we've put the fire out, the radiation's not leaking out as much. By the way, and they think they've got about 3 weeks to deal with this. It's not. They find out 10 days after that it's about 72 hours. 3 days. Right? They would have been, I think, this is a little higher than I did, but I read a 200 kilometre, everything within 200 kilometres is completely uninhabitable. And that, because that reactor 4 is a thermal explosion. That's what's going to happen. It's a thermal explosion. But when that hits reactor 3 and reactor 2 and reactor 1, their cores will explode, and because it's a thermal explosion, it will trigger a nuclear explosion.
No, what nightmare scenario. Hiroshima style mushroom cloud going off.
4 of them. 3 of them. 3 of them.
Oh yeah, because I suppose the reactors next to them would be fucked as well, wouldn't
It
they?
says 3 to 5 megatons, so Hiroshima, what did we say?
Oh, there's less than a megaton.
It's 100 kilotons,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. The Tsar bomb was 50.
50 what?
50 megatons. A 3 to 5 megaton exchange, I think, was from Threads with the amount dropped on Britain, if you remember rightly. If I
So
remember
basically,
rightly.
it could have been Threads because of this.
Threads in Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
But so Russia, Poland, Latvia, Lithuania, the Baltic States, Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Germany,
Yeah, we get the
Greece,
point, yeah.
all irradiated within a lifetime.
So evacuations, sickness. So those countries would be uninhabitable.
Yeah,
Where would they all
within
go?
200 kilometres of that facility, nothing's alive. Nothing's going to live there for like 100,000 years. It's fucking dead. And then that radiation. And remember, there's more nuclear material in these reactors than there is a bomb. They're bigger. There's more. It would have wiped out the world at what, but Europe would have been the first to go, and then the rest of the world would have felt it years later. Humanity may have survived, but there'd have been a lot of issues.
I don't know about
I mean,
that. I think it would have been contained in Europe, wouldn't it?
you'd have seen a lot of birth defects, a lot of rising
you have a lot of
cancers.
that, but they're not going to get the impact of the explosion, are they? It's
No, but
be
they're the
after
fallout.
effects, yeah.
That's what I mean. So the radiation, but within a few generations,
Yeah, it's not going to wipe out a continent,
after
is it?
it's gonna, it could certainly make life very unbearable to the point where people are dying in massive numbers from cancers.
Well, yeah, it's not going to be good.
You know, eventually it'll just be a wasteland. Like he's pumping out, and then you got then you got 4 pumping out.
Nuclear wasteland.
Where's the book, Pete?
I wrote that myself as well on it.
Have you started doing it on the Who pages?
They were on somebody shared Jimmy Fallon's show. They played an acoustic. Like he does this feature where bands play a song on kids' instruments of all things.
I've seen the Metallica version of that.
Yeah, and it was the Who, so I commented, "Where's the book, Pete?" Nobody liked my comment.
No.
I don't think anyone knows what the fuck I'm on
No.
about. Just buried, isn't it now?
It's the same with me when I.
Playing a kiddie's instrument, Ben.
Yeah.
Oh, the humanity.
I bet he was rock hard, the dirty bastard.
Who's sniffing the base of the bill. Where did you get these from, Mr. Kimmel? An actual school? Where's the book, Pete?
Where's the book, Pete?
Oh, sorry.
I want
Should I play my generation?
I want a T-shirt saying that now. Where's the book, Pete?
It could be our new catchphrase.
It's getting that way. We mention it in most episodes. But what I do now on Facebook when the Who, I follow the Who, I always write, "Where's the book, Pete?" And all the fucking, every single time they come on the news feed, I just write it. I'm waiting to get banned.
It's our civil duty, Ben, to remind people.
So basically, what they had to do in Chernobyl, these divers, was go underneath the flooded basements in scuba suits, no radiation shielding, just scuba suits, and release the pressure valve so they could open the floodgates. So one man knew where the release valve was. His name was Annunaki, and he was one of the plant engineers. He, along with fellow engineer Valery Betsplov and shift supervisor Boris Baranov, were asked to take on what amounted to be a suicide mission. The men were told they could refuse the assignment, But Aneko later said, "How could I do that when I was the only person on the shift who knew where the valves were
Imagine that,
located?"
Ben. The only person for the job.
Yeah.
Well, he knows that feeling.
I feel all the time. Every day I'm there. The
You
only
know,
person.
sacrifice your life to go in.
Yeah, but I'm saving 60 million in Ukraine and Belarus alone.
Yeah.
He'd be a
Nobody,
bit of a cunt if he said no.
nobody will really remember your name. It'll be a footnote in history.
Yeah, well, there should be statues of this fella.
There is now, yeah.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, good stuff.
Believe it or not, spoiler alert, they live.
Wow.
They received commendations in 2018. One of them had passed away,
Good for them.
but they
I
must.
thought you said it was a suicide mission.
It is a suicide mission, but
As far
basically,
as he knew,
as soon as they emerged,
Yeah.
they were hosed down, decontaminated, fired off to Moscow for the best available care, and they did survive.
Good on him, man.
One, I can't
But
remember
you're
which one
right,
it was.
their names should be household fucking names.
I can't remember because of the cover-up.
That's true.
They didn't want to admit they'd had to go to this level. I mean, this is like end of life in Europe within 5 or 6 generations, effectively, from radiation poisoning. You don't want to admit you had to go to this level where you're asking, because they had to ask Gorbachev for permission to do this. You know, we're 3 men's lives. That's what we're asking for. You got to give us 3 men. You're going to
Great
select.
bastards,
For the
isn't
sake
they?
Yeah.
of millions. Do you know there's a psychological test that they do where you might know about it, but where it's something along the lines of, sorry if I'm butchering it, but you're on a bridge, you're looking down over a railway track, and there's an out of control cart coming down, and if it goes on the track it's on, it's going to kill a group of people. But if you pull the lever, it will go off on another track and just kill one man, a worker who's on that track. But if you leave it and don't do anything, it's going to hit the big group of people and kill them. What do you do?
I pull the track, aim it for the one bloke, and shout as loud as I can.
Good answer. But it's just a sort of thought. What's it called?
Either
A
way,
thought experiment.
because either
Somebody's
way,
dying.
it's going to be bad, isn't it?
And it's
And the
just
rational human brain says, well, I'd rather save 30 lives than one. Mathematically, that makes sense.
But some people say,
Well,
look,
keep-
it's not for me to get
Yeah,
involved.
yeah.
If it was already out of
Fate,
control, it's fate. I'm not going to choose who. I'm not going to do anything.
We've all seen, what's it called, The Final Destination?
I haven't actually, but I
Haven't
know
you?
the concept.
Yeah.
I think I've
concept.
seen the first. I think I've seen 1 and 3. I think we've been through this before.
There's
Yeah.
loads of them, though, isn't it? I might have seen bits of the first one, but I don't like that kind of thing. But anyway, so it's the same. It's the same sort of. The reason I went down that little rabbit hole, it was the same sort of situation here, where this dude is weighing up, like you just said, 3 against however many millions, and they, fucking fair play to him. He says it there himself in the quote, doesn't it? How could I do that when I was the only person who knew how to do it?
Yeah.
Basically.
The only person who's left. I mean, there's probably others, but
And he understood the consequences,
Yeah.
obviously, like, this isn't... So I suppose if they were just like, listen, mate, do this for, because you're an employee, we'll give you a little bonus. And saying no to that's one thing, but when it's like, it's fuck all to do with my job or the company, the government, it's potentially the world, millions of people.
yeah.
Good on him. I'm glad there's a statue and stuff of him and things
Some
like
people may have folded and not... been able to do
Decades
it.
later, though, it must be admitted.
Yeah, I may have crumbled completely under the pressure, and think
Well,
you're right.
I heard that when they were down there, basically, it sounds dramatic, but their lights went out. So they're in the dark. There's no lights down there. They had torches. The radiation ate through the circuitry, eating the torches.
Fuck you.
You saw them out. You had Geiger counters, and there was a gap.
Knee deep in radioactive water.
Yeah. Right, so his Geiger counter's going, and it's like doing that noise, as it is. And then there was a crack in the wall. And he looked, and he held the Geiger counter up, and it just spiked, and he saw a glow through the crack in the wall, and he said, "We need to get out of here right now. We need to." And eventually, just before the lights went out, he found the pipe that was the one that led to the sluice gates, and he basically just, as the lights went, he gripped that pipe, and they just felt their way
Fair play.
all the way down.
Legends, man. Heroes.
Scroll down.
Yeah.
please.
Wow, not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah.
That's fucking amazing. And then let off the valves.
They released it so they could pump the water out, and that saved hundreds of square miles from being an inhabitable nuclear wasteland.
Wow.
It just they did survive. That article is slightly out.
It says none of them survived for a few weeks on this.
Yeah, but the article I wanted to show you had a redaction on that. It was taking they were, but that is true about how they buried the survivors. It was lead-lined coffins.
Wow, like Superman.
It's welded shut, lead and zinc, welded shut, buried in
poured on top.
Concrete poured on top. And so imagine a funeral.
Normally you throw on ceremony a handful of dirt. Would you like to pour the cement mixer?
A cement mixer literally reverses up.
Beep, beep.
Yeah.
So you're at a funeral, open air funeral. It's you're all in your black. There's your loved ones there, dead, and they just reverse the cement mixer up and just let it loose.
Vehicle is reversing. Vehicle is reversing. Wow, I shouldn't be laughing, but that's a very dark and comic image. The mourning fucking widow, the geezer trying to give the speech, ashes to ashes, and then there's a geezer in high vis backing a fucking beep, beep. Right hand down, Gary. Right hand down. Straighten her up. Yeah, whip, whip, as you are. That's it, Gary. Whee.
Stand behind the road. Stand behind the road.
Yeah, back up, love. Back. Sorry, darling. Sorry. Back up. I'm sure he was a lovely bloke. Back up. Okay, Gary. Well, that's the reality of nuclear power. Fuck me. And it wasn't like a ceremonial lead coffin. It was literally like, we're not getting poisoned by this cunt. Are you mad, love?
Well, yeah. I've got the redaction for you from the article I wanted to show you.
Okay.
Correction. This dramatic article below was based on a 2011 report from the Scotsman, which says the 3 men died shortly after their foray into the radioactive waters at Chernobyl. However, since this dramatic article was written, it has come to our attention that 3 men did not die as a result of entering the waters, but survived the ordeal. In April 2018, Ukrainian President Petro Poroshenko presented state awards to Alexei Annunaki and Valery Bespalov for their bravery, and posthumously to Boris Boranov, who had died in 2005.
That's brilliant.
So they must have... Remember that Dyatlov, who'd been in the...
He survived he died of an heart attack.
He died of an heart attack. He was in a Soviet prison camp for 10 years.
Or something,
I think it was 93.
Oh, was it? Okay. But I saw the footage of
We'll
it.
find out 10 years then if it was 93.
Well, he could have died in the prison camp. Or been let out early. We'll find out for the next
He definitely
episode.
served time, because I saw the interview footage of him in the prison, basically blaming the company who built and owned, saying that it was inevitable. It was nobody's fault, not mine. He took no responsibility for it. He said it was inevitable, it was going to happen. It wasn't because he demanded the test be done and ignored the advice of more experienced people because they were below him. It was because the company was shoddy and it had a design flaw.
The state was shoddy at that point, though. Wasn't this a company? It was the state.
Technically true, but he showed no remorse or took any. Whereas other men were driven to suicide, and some were, protesting their innocence to the grave, apologetic, and I don't. But from what I saw, obviously I wasn't there, but from what is reported as the facts,
a lot of the dialogue from the room is quite accurate. The survivors are interviewed before they died. And most say sort of collaborating accounts of what actually happened. And most do kind of. The one thing they said, I did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
They didn't live at the floor, did they?
No. They followed procedure. Yeah. Yes,
they followed their training. Yeah.
They followed their training.
All they know.
And remember the guy below Dyatlov, who was usually in charge of the room, he was 25.
Fucking hell. I suppose, like you said earlier,
nuclear engineer, just 25.
But years and years go by.
Prestigious jobs.
Of course they were.
Years and years go by without so much as
near it, but...
Do you know what I mean? Years and years go by without so much as an incident. It's just boring day to day.
Yeah.
They're all very casual, chatting away. It's a nice life. They've got the town right there, built just for them. Playgrounds and everything the children need. And nothing like this ever happens. And then this dude just comes in, not knowing about the floor, and for his own reasons, presses ahead with the test being done, and we've got an international fucking global catastrophe.
Yeah, potentially a worldwide catastrophe within generations. It's not, unless the rest of the world gets its act together and works together, which, let's face it, hasn't happened in human history, same as this. That thing is just going to keep spewing radiation out, isn't it?
I sometimes wonder if this civilization is just a death cult. It just wants to die.
Possibly.
Consciously, we just want to kill ourselves because we're going about the right way, aren't we?
You've got a point, because look at how many weird news articles do we have that are all about the end of the world?
Is this though a symptom?
We don't wish it on ourselves.
Yeah, but listen, what separates us from the animal kingdom is being cognizant of our own demise, right?
But still pushing ahead.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is our lack of care for the future generations, is it simply a symptom of being able to cognitize our own death? Chester there, he doesn't know that he's rotting on a molecular level and that one day he's going to have to leave. So he's not concerned with he hasn't got existential worries. No. He just lives for the moment. He's happy.
Yeah, perhaps some scientists believe that's why there might not be intelligent life. Intelligent life in the universe.
They can't handle it.
No, as soon as somebody becomes conscious, they destroy themselves.
No?
Wow. It's kind of true though, isn't it?
I should point out that Chester's the cat sat on the arm with the settee next to Mike.
He's got a human person.
Yeah.
What does Arnold say to John in T2? It's in your nature to destroy yourselves. Just cold as ice.
Maybe
it's
it
factual.
is. Maybe it is.
He knows it.
Maybe that's our destiny.
No fate but what we make.
Yeah.
We're making bad fate.
Good place to end it for now, innit?
Yeah. I would just say that for the moment, the battle for Chernobyl is won.
Okay.
But
the war is far from over.
Exactly.
Yes.
And the Soviet Union is going to do what it does very well. And that is throw bodies at a problem until the problem is solved. That's the end of Chernobyl. Until next week.
End of part 1, comrade.
I'm going to say comrade more. Actually, you probably shouldn't.
Not in this day and age.
No.
You'll get reported to somebody somewhere.
Yeah. Let's do weird news.
Yep.
Let's get the boys' views on this week's weird news.
I'll take the first one. Oxford professor says invisible aliens are breeding with humans.
Isn't that what Ray was from the Ghostbusters was saying last week?
So now we've got an Oxford professor backing him up.
Yeah.
Well, he is a professor, isn't he, Ray?
Honorary,
university.
I'd imagine.
No, in the story, they work at the uni.
Oh, well,
don't they?
technically, yes.
And then they
He's
get kicked
power psychology, I believe.
Call it fate, call it luck. But I believe everything happens for a reason. Sips the whiskey.
Spanish fly, he's got.
Fucking yeah. That's my kind of scientist. Peter Venkman.
If that reboot,
class
if that fucking sequel is not up to what I'm being promised.
Oh, I know. It's using the original music.
You got the original cast. The original one.
Their role in it though is, I do believe it's about the next generation of
That's fine. That's what the last Ghostbusters film should have been.
We're both on the same page with that. They really missed a trick there. Set it in the same universe, but have Ray being their mentor.
Yeah.
Recruiting.
And Winston, because Peter's moved on to other things.
I think that's what's going to happen in this new one. So how much the old guys are going to be in it, I don't know.
They'll show up at the end and do some old school proton pack stuff.
Oh, imagine how good you'll feel in the cinema if that happens at the end. So they've all said,
no,
we can't do that. We're too old. And the new Ghostbusters are there struggling like fuck. And then all of a sudden you hear a noise. Something, I know, proton pack goes
Usually it's Do Ray, Winston.
Oh, they do that. Oh, and then the camera pans up and they're all there. Well, Egon's not going to be
That's why he says Do Ray. And then he goes, Winston.
No, that might ruin the moment.
I don't know.
That might take it down as it reminds everyone.
I think that could work.
What if
Egon's just not there, is he?
What if Egon is a CGI Jedi-style ghost member?
Carrie Fisher kind of CGI thing.
I'll go for that.
Actually, what if he's a ghost? What if he's a literal ghost? They just put him in as a ghost.
I'll go for that.
Yeah.
But then the camera pans and there they are in the old gear.
And then they bust Egon.
All kitted up. No, he's on their side.
Busted makes me feel good.
Oh, it potentially could be so.
If we were writing this, it'd be fucking awesome. Sorry, bad to this Oxford professor who thinks invisible aliens are breeding with humans.
I love this fucking podcast.
The strange theory is a subject of Korean instructor Young Hai Chi's new book, which is written in Korean, but roughly translates to alien visitations and the end of humanity. Well, that sounds dark. And while its contents are objectively bizarre, its proximity to the highest tiers of academia could demonstrate just how desperate some are for a solution to Earth's climate woes. This is jumping all over the fucking place.
Wow.
Am I breeding with invisible aliens or am I solving global warming? I don't know what I'm doing.
A little from column A. Fuck it up.
In an interview with the Oxford student, Cheese shared some of the highlights in the book, including his belief that because these invisible extraterrestrials live among us, they have a stake in avoiding planet destruction due to climate change. Well, they should take a bit more active role, shouldn't they?
Maybe they're trying.
I know they're invisible, but just manifest yourself for a bit.
Or speak.
Speak to someone. Well, they want to get off the fucking train then,
Maybe
don't they?
that's why all these fucking redneck fucking assholes think they're talking to God, is because it's invisible aliens.
Oh, whispering.
Trying to-
Yeah, but they're whispering bad shit to them.
Yeah, that's true. Go touch that girl's hair, it'll change colour.
Yeah. But I did anyway.
Prophet Bobby Connor.
Oh, I hope he's back soon.
Yeah.
Is he back soon?
Don't know, mate.
Oh.
Regular listeners would have understood that joke.
So, anyway, he didn't interview the Oxford students, including his belief that these invisible extraterrestrials live among us and have a stake in avoiding planet destruction due to climate change. He theorises that hypothetical aliens interbreeding with humans could be intended to create a hybrid species capable of surviving future climate conditions on Earth. Or that the aliens are producing these hybrids as a problem solver, a future leader.
Hang on, but if they're going to die of climate change and we're going to die of climate change, why does interbreeding mean that the offspring aren't?
Because they'll be genetically modified to survive extreme cold or heat.
Yeah, what he said.
Also, I like the idea that we're going to end up with a alien hybrid leader. I mean, obviously, Don is...
It's not going to be you.
No, I'm the resistance.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot.
I'm the resistance against the machines.
I forgot.
I have nothing to do with this storyline.
Well, will
this
you stop
potential
him from
future.
taking my driving job like he keeps telling me each week?
No.
Son of a bitch.
Just your driving job.
Oh, well. I'm gobsmacked. Back to this fucking clown and his invisible
His invisible aliens.
alien monsters.
These are desperate times, apparently. He doesn't provide any examples of the evidence he claims supports his theory in the interview, and it's hard to imagine the book itself containing anything terribly concrete. Still, the fact that someone as highly educated as Chi wrote an entire book based on salvation by extraterrestrials could be a sign of how daunting our future is starting to look.
Yeah, it's getting desperate now. Probably it's a death cult.
Stick another graphite rod on the nuclear fire. Fuck it, we'll all be fine.
Okay.
Everybody's going to the party.
I tell you what, I bet these invisible aliens...
Drink your own beer to the end of the world.
I bet these invisible aliens are well pissed off. We share this earth with you, cunt, you're fucking it up.
But if we could see you, maybe we'd think about you.
If you-
Out of sight, out of mind.
If you're that wise and all-knowing, make sure we can see you
Or
and
do
tell
what,
us shit.
do what the invisible man does, you silly fuckers. Wrap yourself in bandages and put on a
Yeah,
hat.
that's it. You just solved this entire issue.
Simple.
You
They
just,
don't want to be seen, mate. They don't want to be. They don't integrate. These
No.
fucking immigrant, fucking invisible
these invisible aliens.
Not interested
Oh.
in integration, mate. Keep themselves to themselves.
Build a wall, I say. Build an invisible wall.
Thing is, if these invisible aliens live here, fair play and hello. But secondly, if you want to stop us destroying the Earth, maybe impart some of that alien wisdom on us.
Help us.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll help us.
Wrap yourself in bandages and put a hat on and come and give us some fucking advice.
Or maybe they'll help us by putting a hat on and wiping us out, finally. Just saying they don't deserve to
But
be here.
some
It's
kind of
just
death
a-
hat.
Well, they put a hat on so we can see our...
Oh, I get
You
you.
know,
Yeah,
so-
our killers.
We don't think it's...
But they'd have much more of a tactical advantage if they're just invisible and stabbed us in the back.
You'd be able to see the knife, though, wouldn't you?
Unless it was some kind of alien
Unless
knife.
they've got their own invisible world with invisible
Yeah, that's it, innit?
utensils. I don't know. This
Yeah.
is a minefield.
So do you think invisible aliens are breeding with humans?
Yeah, fuck it, why not?
Well, if women tend to lie around naked...
Please, you've all just barely escaped a nuclear holocaust. I'm going for that. I'll take this. Is there any kind of hope?
Maybe that's what a phantom pregnancy is.
I'm going to tell.
Those are ghost babies, Mike.
I'm going to
Those
tell.
invisible aliens.
Oh, ghost babies.
I'm going to tell another incredibly bad joke that you've probably heard. This is a dad joke, a bad joke, all rolled into one. Superman's flying high above Metropolis. He looks down. He sees Wonder Woman, naked, on a sun lounger on the roof, legs akimbo. He thinks, I'm faster than a speeding bullet. I could whiz down there, bang one in her. Excuse the turn of phrase, ladies, sorry.
I think you want to rephrase this as rape.
Yeah, I know, okay. But wait, that's...
I have heard this joke.
Let me
It's
finish the
old
joke.
as the hills, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I know where you're going with it.
Whooshes down. Does it super fast. Flies off.
So he rapes Wonder Woman.
Oh, does he? Because Wonder Woman says, what the fuck was that? And the Invisible Man says, I don't know, but my ass is killing me.
It's an oldie but a goodie.
So he raped the Invisible Man.
Yeah.
But he wanted to rape Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So take it away that Superman's a rapist.
But he fucked the Invisible Man.
I know, it's funny. But is it funny?
I know what his intentions were bad.
Are you sure that wasn't Soviet Superman?
It's a sign of the times, Ben. Once upon a time, there was nobody questioned Wonder Woman's role in that joke. They just went with it. Oh, that's
This
Superman.
is the 70s.
Exactly.
Oh, that's Superman, you cheeky scamp. You...
Him ruffling his hair.
That's what it was like back then, wasn't it?
Oh, you little rapey Superman. Oh.
Oh, what an age we live in now, eh?
Well, it's better than that.
Is it, Mike? Is
For the
it?
women it is, yeah.
I'd say so.
Maybe
yeah.
not for the men. The ones, the rapey men, not so much. Which is probably a good thing.
Well, yes. And Invisible Men. It's better now for Invisible Men.
You know,
On that note, could I please have a piss?
Yes.
An invisible piss.
Next article then.
okay.
Oh, this is bait for me.
A little bit.
Yeah.
You mentioned it earlier. You mentioned it a few weeks ago. Mindfulness to be taught in 370 schools in
Good
England.
stuff.
Wow.
Good stuff. Do it.
In 370 schools across England, children will be taught how to meditate,
Fantastic.
techniques for muscle
Yeah.
relaxation, and breathing exercises for mindfulness. The programme is being conducted under a mental health study that the British government
Don't forget aligning
running
your
up until-
chakras.
No, they don't do that.
2021.
Just them things. Just the other
Well,
stuff.
why are the chakras not no good and they are?
You've got to centre your chi force.
Because they're bollocks. Meditation is just
no.
mind control.
Come on now.
Controlling-
Mind control. Ben's review of meditation.
It's mastering your own mind.
Well, just letting
Being
your thoughts
comfortable
come,
with it.
Let your thoughts come and go. Breathe through it. You can't stop yourself from thinking, so you just
I
let
think
them
it's a
come
damn
and go.
good thing, personally.
Me too. I'm
Hey,
all in
I'm-
favour of this.
I like the story.
I thought this might have triggered Ben, but obviously
No, it
his
should be done.
meditation's been working.
There you go.
370 schools across England.
And you all mocked me saying I was going to become more right wing.
Well, it's because you've got someone now. That's what. You know what I mean? He's a bit more relaxed about life in general.
I had a reggae box for a while, haven't I?
Exactly. That's what happens.
Quite happy these days.
You start turning soft.
Very happy these days.
Start turning soft.
I'm not going soft.
You are
Apparently,
going soft.
1 in 8 British children have mental disorders, and 1 in 5 in the UK with mental issues are unable. Only 1 in 5 able to get access to treatment they need.
Well, I live with 2 of them. Joke.
Oh.
Joke. Absolute joke. Yeah, I can believe that. It's a symptom of modern life, man.
Yeah.
It's the way things
You
are.
got to learn to
That's
switch the brain
capitalism.
off.
Yeah. It's very difficult.
But I ain't going soft though.
I found a very good way of shutting it off that I've been using for almost 2 decades. For me, it's great. It's just for the people around me, it's not such a great solution. And I'm sure you've guessed already, that is drinking beer until I collapse in a heap of unconsciousness.
I thought you were going to say marijuana.
Oh no, beer's cheaper, more effective.
Yeah.
Well, not more effective. More effective at shutting yourself off, off. Weed is, much more effective for distracting yourself with, it would be so awesome if Batman had a robotic Batman that you could get inside of, like a giant Power Rangers like they used to do. That would be pretty cool. It looked like a Batman, but it was metal. you know, that doesn't happen with beer. It's a bit more like, oh, fucking bitch! You took my soul! And then before you know it, you're asleep.
Well, I bet the kids love that when they couldn't. Good night.
That's the thing, I can't do that anymore.
Good night, Daddy. You fucking bitch took my soul.
Fucking whore beast from hell!
Good night, Daddy.
Love you. I love you too. You'll grow up to be one of them one day, soul taker! It's a lovely household.
But it is. It sounds wonderful.
Full of happiness and joy and screaming at the sky. Daddy's shouting at clouds again.
Nude, holding a bottle of whiskey. Is that how you doing it?
Give me back my soul!
That's how I do it.
And then my ringtone goes up and it changes from dark and brooding to like, oh, I am a real American, and I'm all happy singing. And now you all know what my ringtone is.
You can do it anyway. Your phone's gone off during the show.
Oh, that was a cheap shot.
Still owes the beers for that.
I'm broke. I've got family to feed. So you want to take food out of the mouths of children, Ben, just for your beers that I owe you?
Do you really want to answer that question?
I know. I know the fucking answer. Alright, I guess they won't have yogurts after dinner tomorrow. No pudding today, kids. Why? I owe Ben beer.
I owe Ben like 10 beers.
Beer costs money, and so do you. Back of the queue, bitches. That's a joke. Honestly. Right, fuck, I've derailed it massively. I think meditation for children is definitely a positive step forward.
Absolutely, me too.
Yep, one agreement.
Give
For
it to
once.
adults. Yeah, it's quite rare. Alright, last one, I'll take this. Oh. Traces of extraterrestrial organic matter have been found in South Africa's mountains.
Wow.
Holy fuck. What site is this from? Do we know?
ScienceAlert.com.
Okay.
Never heard of it.
Me either, but that doesn't mean it's not...
It's called Science Alert, though.
Doesn't mean it's reputable.
That's a .com.
Or not reputable, because what do I know about science? But South Africa's mountains are... I'm not going to try to fucking pronounce that.
The Makawana Mountains, something like that. Either way.
Macondra,
maybe. I'm not familiar with the African language. The guy just went, mountains?
South
At least I try and pronounce it.
I think maybe it's better to not pronounce it than butcher it. I don't know. It's a new theory I'm testing. Anyway, there are mountains in South Africa.
I wish you told me this theory did the fucking Amish and Riku episode where I butchered every Japanese name that came on.
Well, these mountains in South Africa are home to some of the oldest rocks on the planet, but not everything in this magnificent landscape originated on Earth. Scientists say they've discovered... Oh, I've lost my microphone. Say they've discovered trace evidence of extraterrestrial organic matter buried within volcanic sediment from over 3.3 billion years ago. Fuck me, it's like Jurassic Park then.
Yeah.
So, this is the very first time that we have found actual evidence for extraterrestrial carbon in terrestrial rocks. Astrobiologist Francis Westall from the CNRS Centre for Molecular Biophysics in France explained to the New Scientist.
That's an impressive school name, isn't it?
Woo.
The Centre for Molecular Biophysics.
Mm.
That's not bad at all, is it?
Yeah, but they don't get laid much though.
I bet they do. Hey, I'm a biologist in astrophysics.
I'm what? You're fucking 3 foot tall pencil neck geek. Anyway,
What's better, cosmonaut or doctor?
Cosmonaut, for fuck's sake, definitely. They take a lot of LSD, don't they?
Cosmonauts?
Yeah.
No, Russian astronauts.
Oh, cosmonauts. Oh, I'm thinking of... Anyway. Violently impacting... Oh, shit. You've bamboozled me. For billions of years, Earth has been rained upon by meteorites, I believe so, violently impacting and rearranging the planet's surface. What do these space rocks leave behind when they get here? It could be a lot. Many scientists think that some of the building blocks for life on our planet may have arrived as spacefaring molecules. The new discovery in South Africa adds further weight to this tantalizing possibility. In a volcanic deposit called the...
Joseph Dahl Chert.
Thank you. Which is part of the mountain region aka the Greenstone Belt. I can
Yeah,
say that
there
one.
you go.
Westall and her team uncovered a 2mm thick rock layer characterised by 2 anomalous signals. Using electron paramagnetic resonance,
Wow.
EPR,
Spectroscopy.
yeah, the researchers found that the 3.3 billion year old rock contained 2 types of insoluble organic matter, both of which suggested extraterrestrial origins. The oldest extraterrestrial organic matter ever identified, no less.
Wow.
Well, one of the EPR signals resembles something scientists have seen before in carbonaceous chondrites.
Well done.
Holy fuck. Ancient meteorite samples containing organic compounds. The other anomalous reading, suggestive of nanoparticles of nickel, chromium and iron, is not something usually seen in terrestrial rock formations, and also strengthens the argument that parts of this thin rock layer originally came from somewhere much, much farther away. Wow.
Fantastic.
Fascinating.
Aliens.
I like the theory that our meteorites that began life, the primordial soup, came here on a rock.
Yeah, more than
We're
likely.
all stardust.
Panspermia.
Yeah, we're all stardust, baby.
Yeah.
Do a line and suck my dick, girl. Ew, sorry I said that. I was just, in my head I was at like one of them hippie rock star parties and I just said, we're all stardust, baby.
Were you a hippie rock star?
Yeah,
in your
and then,
fantasy?
and then a really famous young pop star, she did the deed. And let's move on. I'm being
Well, all that was on your head just then.
I'm being far too candid. Yeah,
Well,
like
you
a
sure the
really
drugs
brief-
aren't still residual in your system?
Oh, they almost definitely are. Why my brain is like a wet cake.
Fair enough. Delicious, yet terrible.
If I'm ever single again, that should be my Tinder fucking. I won't get any ticks.
It's a cattle market, though.
Yeah, it truly is. It's gross trying to sell yourself in like one image and like 3 sentences.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope I never have to do that again. Anyway, that I think concludes the fucking news.
Yes. So let's play Full Alex.
Yay!
Were you trying to get crazy with this, eh? Don't you know I'm loco?
Where Mike finds a couple of random weirdos on the internet who he puts up against the arch saint of insanity himself, Alex Jones. And we decide who's gone more full Alex this week. The rules are slightly complex in a way, because although we say that whoever's gone for full Alex, we do judge it on bigotry nowadays as well, if Alex isn't up for it that day.
Well, it's based on personal opinion, isn't
Yeah.
it? Really? But you know,
Well,
the
yeah.
rules are flexible.
Exactly. Remember, it's alright to go a little bit Alex, quarter Alex, half Alex, even 3/4 Alex.
Especially if you're on public transport late at night after a 12-hour drinking session.
Indeed. But never go full Alex, like on a train after 12 hours of drinking.
It was 3/4. I made it home that night. It could have been full.
You fell over a lot, you said.
Oh yeah, I was black and blue head to toe.
Exactly.
And I had literally no memory from the train, between the train and the house. But the point is, that's lost time.
I think that's for
I'm
Alex.
not on the internet saying...
Lost time
I'm
is
not on
for
the
Alex.
internet saying I'm fucking... It was aliens!
You were nearly on the internet screaming that it was 2 shooters on a packed train.
Prove there wasn't 2 shooters. Let's not get into it
On
now.
a packed train?
Yes.
You were
sticking
screaming
a
out-
microphone in people's faces after
Shouting.
I'd been drinking for quite literally 12 hours.
Shouting there was
Yes.
2 shooters.
But don't miss out the bit that we had been drinking for an entire day.
I was alright. Mike was alright.
I wasn't. I drank maybe more.
To be fair, I stopped a couple of hours before you.
Yeah, wasn't he sick and then went on to fucking pop?
Oh yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, alright.
And you have a higher tolerance for it than me because you're more of an alcoholic.
Whoa! It's all
Which
about
is
stamina.
Saying something.
It's about
And yes,
stamina.
I had the microphone in my bag all day, planning on recording some on the location interviews. Realised we hadn't done a single piece of recording, and in a panic, in my drunkest moment, decided I better do some fucking interviews.
Yeah, the worst of it was though, I said, "Hey, what do you think of Roswell, buddy?" And he was meant to launch into a spiel, about Roswell because he knew about it, and you start screaming at him at 2 shooters.
I wasn't screaming, I was shouting at the most. And it's very loud on a train, I needed to be heard over the sound of the tracks.
But either way, that'll be a release day.
Maybe. Right, let's play the fucking game show.
Yeah.
And don't go full Alex Lister, that's the moral.
Who we got first, Mike?
First up is the alien contactee.
Wow, this guy could win it straight off the fucking description.
Yeah, bearing in mind he's got nearly 20,000 subscribers.
Jesus Christ, you haven't got that many. Look, if you listen to this show, I want 20,000 subscribers.
Me too.
Right, by the end of the month. There you go.
I think that's slightly ambitious, but...
Because if this dude can get it, why the fuck can't we?
Well...
I mean, he's saying that Donald Trump meets a Pelagian aliens to discuss annunaki.
But he's been picked
Yeah,
up by the...
apparently-
He's wearing a shit shirt.
He is.
We're far more well dressed than he is.
We are, I guess. We got cooler t-shirts.
Yeah, definitely. Why haven't we... Oh, I'm shocked.
Well, he's explaining that Trump has met with King Plachacha, leader of the Pleiadians,
Right.
to discuss his recent meeting with King Inky on Nibiru and the
Right.
Annunaki threat.
The king shows some tough love.
Yeah.
This is a must-watch, apparently. Mike, I think you've chosen well.
To the meeting. Trump gets to the Pleiades and he walks into the dining room where King Plachacha is, and the king is on his throne and he's eating the most spectacular fish dinner. Beautiful. And Trump walks in and the king says, "Come closer, Trump. Come closer." So Trump keeps coming closer and closer. And then Trump goes to shake the king's hand and the king says, "I'm not shaking your hand. You shook hands with Inky. You're contaminated," the king says. But the king says, "Come a little bit closer, though. A little bit closer, a little bit closer." So Trump is getting very, very close to the king. And then Trump says, "I have something for you, bud." And he whacked Trump. Oh, he gave Trump a whack in the head. And Trump almost started crying. He said, "I'm sorry, King, I'm sorry." And the king said, "That is tough love for you, Trump, for going up to Nibiru and meeting with Inky and calling him a terrific guy. What kind of bull crap is this?" So Trump, "I'm sorry, King, I'm sorry." And there's two sides to every story. And the king says, "Well, you sit at the other end of the table." And you know, the king, he's such a good guy. He is such a good king, and he's such a loving king.
It sounds
that
it.
he didn't prepare a delicious fish dinner for Trump, but he wasn't going to sit there and make Trump eat empty-handed, you know? So he brings out, or one of the butlers bring out, a canned sardines for Trump. Which, I don't know, maybe that's even more disrespect, giving the man canned sardines. Canned Pleiadian sardines. So they're much better than the canned sardines that you get here. So the king said, "Here, eat your canned sardines while I have my delicious fish dinner." So they ate. Trump picked through the sardines. He kind of had a foul face look on his face because not everybody likes sardines. But that's all you're getting. It was either canned sardines or canned tuna. And Trump felt that the canned tuna was a little bit, or the king felt that the canned tuna was just a little too nice. So canned sardines,
is this
perfect. All thanks goes to the king on that one. He wasn't going to let Trump go empty-handed. And then after that, they went into the meeting room, and that's where a lot of confidentiality comes in, a lot of security clearances. But the king wanted the full scoop on this meeting with Inky. And Trump is trying to say that Inky is a great guy still, which the king was getting madder and madder hearing that. But Trump says, "Hear me out. He was so nice. He was a gracious host. He made the most excellent steaks." And then the king was like, "Yeah, your bloody red, rare steak, I hear. Sounds a little reptilianish to me." And Trump's just like, "Oh, I love my steaks rare. It doesn't mean anything, king." You know? So he's trying to say pretty much the information that I'm allowed to deliver to you guys about this meeting. Is Trump told the king that Nibiru is headed for Earth, and the reptilians, the Annunaki, they want a reptilian apocalypse.
Wow, how fucking high is that kid?
Yeah.
He should write comic books.
Yeah. Just put your mind to good use, son.
So Trump's been up to see the Palladian King, but he's sneakily, backhandedly been seeing King Inky.
Sounds like
Nibiru.
Trump to me.
Nibiru, the reptilians, and eating rare steaks with him.
Yeah.
So he gave him a slap across the face, gave him sardines for dinner.
Yeah, and his
Palladian
banqueting hall,
sardines.
Palladian
which are
sardines.
better than Earth sardines.
But still, they're sardines.
Yeah.
And then got Trump to confess that Nibiru are planning an Anunnaki apocalypse.
But the Palladians are going to try and stop that then.
Well, isn't Vrilli a Palladian?
I can't remember.
Yeah, apparently.
He's a lazy twat.
That's what I mean. So where's
The
Vrilli in all
Nordics
this?
are Palladians.
Well, there, where's Vrilli in all this? Go back to our Southern Television
He's
Broadcasting
smoking
episode.
fucking space weed with some space
Yeah, that's it. So where the fuck is he?
He's being like space Jesus, isn't he? The last years.
Look, all joking aside, this guy is clearly insane.
Oh, he's
Well,
just winding.
20,000 people believe him.
Has it crossed your mind he might just be having a laugh, but
Yeah.
he knows some people will lap it up?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm going for that. I think he's a fairly intelligent stoner kid. He looks like he's sat in a nut, like his parents have quite a nice house.
It does actually. That's a nice little mosaic behind him there going on.
So I'm thinking he's winding people up and he is incredibly high.
Yeah.
You
might be
see
right
how high
there.
he is. Look
Yeah.
how stoned this man is.
Yeah. All right. What's the next one then?
Or he could be telling the truth.
If he believes it, then he's a. So is he going to say at the end he knows this psychically, or is it somebody tell him? He's got a Palladium mate.
He's got a Palladium, mate.
Basically, yeah.
All right, Bob.
You won't fucking believe what I heard the other day about the Palladium Palace.
They
What was
channel
it,
him, don't
Bob?
they? They channel
Palladium
him.
Bob. All right, Palladium Bob.
Hey, Pally Bob. Pally, I call him. Pally, what happened? Bloody Trump went in there, right? He slapped him in the face, the king did. He said, fucking hell, Trumpy. You've been meeting with that inky fella and I'm having it. Have your fucking sardines. I love it. Fucking hell, Pally, this is mad. I'm going to go and make an internet video. Don't fucking tell him I told you, right?
That's basically what it is.
You don't want Pally getting in trouble, do you?
Gone Welsh now.
Oh yeah, I've lost it. Fucking hell. Fair play. Good strong start.
It is.
Who's next?
This guy's a newbie, isn't he?
Yeah. Another newcomer. Robert Henderson claims he secured Trump's election in the courts of heaven.
You've thrown two newbies up against Alex.
I have.
Oh man, this could be a bold move. See how it plays
Four
out.
stages of judgment that will come upon anybody that becomes a party to saying we're casting off his bonds and removing his constraints. And of course, that's what they're doing with President Trump.
Yes.
They're actually saying we don't want him, and that's what's so deadly about that is that he's God's choice. He's God's choice, and God said, I set him.
Yeah.
They can try all day long to remove him. They will not remove him. God said, I set him as the president, and they can fight and they can curse and they can do all that they want. The problem is they're fighting against God.
Right.
Fighting against God is
Yeah,
right.
that's the
And
thing.
God says, look, in March 2016, I was in Germany, and it was in the heat of the Republican primary, and there was like 10 or 12 people still in it. And all of a sudden, I have a dream. I'm in Germany, and Donald Trump calls me on the phone. And he says, I need for you to do a conference for me on July the 6th to shift things concerning my campaign, to shift things so that I will win. And so I did that. I had a conference on July the 6th. And we stood in the courts of heaven, in the council of the Lord. And in that council, God told me to make a decree out of James 1:11, which is all flesh is as grass, and the flower is as the glory of the grass. And he said to me, he said, here's what I want you to do as you stand here. I want you to decree that Hillary Clinton's campaign is as grass, and that she is as the flower of the grass. And the burning, searing, exposing heat of God will come and bring exposure, and she will wither away, and Donald Trump will be the president of the United States. And we did that, and that's exactly what happened.
Wow.
Fucking
liar.
Should be on the our good friend the Jim Backer show.
Fucking liar.
Ugh, what a twat.
Absolute barefaced fucking liar. And I can't even blame him being high for his fucking bullshit stories.
No, he's winning for me, isn't he?
Cynical. Fuck you, man.
No, he's winning for me.
Robert Henderson, fuck off.
It was what's St. Alex got to say?
I don't know.
The classic Alex on the BBC.
Oh,
wow. Well, this ain't going to go well for him.
Apparently, just as a spoiler, I heard an interview with, what's the host's name?
Andrew Neil.
Andrew Neil. Andrew Neil gave an interview where he said apparently the second the camera stopped rolling, Alex just went straight back into, well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Shaking hands, and off he went, normal as fuck. So it's
that's because he's Bill Hicks.
He just switches the rants on and you know, he's an actor, but he's a wonderfully mental actor.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let's hear him.
Do you think the BBC is part of the Bilderberg Group?
Well, you know, Winston Smith did work here. I mean, come on, Eric Blair worked here, and that's what he said it was.
Why do you think we've let
George
you
Orwell.
on? Why have we let you on then?
Because you guys think that you can manage the whole thing, and now our information's gotten too big. I have 3 million radio listeners a day. That's a low number. 3 million. I get about 50 million YouTube views a month. That's
Not
a
anymore.
very conservative number. I make films, put them online for free, that get watched 40 million times, like the Obama deception. And that's why, because the establishment doesn't know what to do.
Alex has this point, and it's an important one. I would have, say, 10 years ago said, listen to all this stuff. He believes that people put cancer virus in vaccine in order to create a eugenics program. That's what he believes.
We talk about medical discovery,
and we would have said, and I would have said, hey, that's kind of mad, and so on. And it's an interesting psychological phenomenon.
Like
dismiss
the
it. The problem is that
down,
conspiracy theories like this are believed. I believe in.
Hey, listen, I'm here to warn people. You keep telling me to shut up. This isn't a game. Okay, our government in the U.S. is building FEMA camps. We have an NDAA where they disappear people now. You have this arrest for public safety, life in prison.
You are the worst person I've ever interviewed.
No, it's basically off with their heads, disappear
David, thank
take
you
them
for
away.
being with us.
Infowars.com.
Watching the Sunday politics. We have an idiot on the program today. Just 20 minutes.
You will not stop the Republic. Humanity is awakening. Infowars.com.
I'll be with you the week ahead with our political panel. Until then, the Sunday politics across the UK.
Thinking the public isn't waking up.
You know what, Alex has won that for me.
But then apparently, as soon as he knew the cameras off, he just was like, right, yeah, thanks very much, gents. It was all. Did you hear how he managed to slip in? Well, I'm here to protect Infowars.com. Sometimes you can go buy my minerals. They'll help protect against cancer.
Yeah, just because of the fact he's on the BBC.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
He's trying to have the guy is trying to have a proper discussion with him. The other chap's trying to shush him.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Well,
I mean,
the
first guy, the guest, yeah.
I love that the guest is trying to get into a discussion where he's going to explain the psychological phenomena of believing conspiracy theories, and Alex is like, fuck that, just shuts that shit down.
Shut it down, my audience, you twat.
Fuck off, what are you doing, you prick? I feed off these people. Well, I can explain an intellectual explanation for why people tend to fall for it. Shut the fuck up! Infowars.com! And for the listener, you wouldn't see that the incredibly British host, Andrew Neil, was making his crazy signs with his hands and making the sign to strangle himself or strangle Alex, I don't know. The clash of Britishness and Alex Jones is just fucking wonderful, isn't it?
Yeah, he's winning for me.
We have an idiot.
Yeah.
He literally said that.
And Alex didn't bat eyelid. You know, because he's this alpha male.
Yeah.
Should have gone over and punched Andrew Neil, shouldn't he?
Let's go through it, shall we?
Alright, so what's the first one? So, so Donald Trump meets a Pelagian aliens, just the annunaki, gets bitch slapped, he's made to eat Pelagian sardines out of a can at the fish dinner reception.
Because he'd been meeting with Inky.
Because he'd been meeting with Inky. You know what? In terms of lunaticness... No, I made my decision too soon, didn't I?
I think I don't want to give it away, but I get where you're going, and I agree.
Robert Henderson.
Robert Henderson claims he had a dream where he heard a psalm and was told via a phone call to throw Donald Trump a rally and then
expose Hillary.
Expose Hillary.
As if God gives a fuck about presidential elections in America.
And then,
why would he
because
care?
Trump is chosen by God, and then he gets off the phone, he throws that rally, and Trump's elected president, as God promised him he would be. Wow.
Horrific.
I think that Donald Trump being called a crazy idiot by Andrew Neil on the BBC, which I do like for Britishness, I must admit. We have an idiot on the show.
Yeah.
I say.
Settle
Andrew
down,
Neil
you-
should probably wear a pith helmet.
For the listeners, it's on a program called Sunday Politics. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like
British tea time, or is it late at night?
I know, it's not even nice, it's early morning.
Yeah, it's about 11 o'clock in the morning, midday.
And who's together by 11 o'clock on a Sunday morning,
Imagine
Gaz?
dear old Marjorie tuning in for, oh, I do enjoy the Sunday politics. Who's that ghastly American man? I'm going to go on Infowars.com.
And that's how they radicalised us into Brexit. Oh! All those ideas watching Infowars.
Well,
Their votes count. Oh!
The truth is out there. I can remember when I thought Infowars was legit.
Oh, well, you know what? I'm changing my thing. It's got to be number one.
I'm going for number one. Part of me thinks he's just having us on, but
Yeah, I do
just
I
the
think he's
story
trying us.
alone is fucking mental.
And it's popped in my newsfeed. Oh, who's this guy, the alien contact here? Oh.
Like fucking the king of the Palladians is some mafia dog. You fucking met with fucking Inky. Don't fucking lie to me, Trump. I know you met with fucking Inky, right? Eat your fucking sardines, you little
Hey,
fucking
you want a
bitch.
fish? You want a fish dinner? Just eat your fucking sardines.
Are you gonna watch me eat this here luxury fish dinner, you fucking bitch? You fucking Goomba Trump.
And that's what they've got is a fucking luxury fish dinner. Infinite world around the galaxy, the Federation of Galaxies. They got a fish dinner and they throw in a can of sardines.
Tell me.
What's the worst? So is the worst fish in the world Palladian sardines?
I swear to God, Trump, you tell me about the fucking lizard man uprising and the oncoming fucking lizard genocide. I'll fuck your mother, I swear to fucking God, Trump.
Wife. Fuck his wife.
Both of the fucking cunts. Tell me. I only met with Inky.
He's a great guy, though. You wouldn't stop saying how much of a great guy.
Hey, good people. Inky, the lizards, they're good people. Good people.
Do you know how I know this is bullshit?
How's that?
Because Trump would have spared it out, wouldn't he?
He'd have
He
told
would have
him.
had to brag about it.
I'm the only one.
And a great fish dinner.
I met with the Palladians and with Inky. Okay, nobody else has done that before. Okay.
Sardines in a
He
can.
couldn't help but brag about it.
No, because you
Mr.
know.
Trump, isn't it true that he made you eat sardines? Fake news! You're a terrible person.
No!
Fake news.
He wouldn't admit it because you get JFK'd. He knows that.
Crazy story. He's got it from me.
You know, he knows that all that stuff he says, right, and all that stuff that this chap says he says, it's a show. But the guys who really run the country, the above the CIA, the Majestic 12, they just JFK him. The second he said anything, the second he made how do we know? Because Bill and Hillary spoke out about releasing the alien files. How do you know they haven't been besmirched?
Well,
how do you know?
Just before
could be a conspiracy theory right there.
I don't know, but I love that word, besmirched.
Thank you. So go on then.
Who's your money on?
Well, you know what? I did say Alex because I love the Britishness of Andrew Neil. We have an idiot on the show, gentlemen. An idiot. But he's not speaking as much bullshit as the first
He's
chap.
just doing an advert for. He's trying to quickly get in an advert for, for Infowars before he gets kicked out.
It's a show for him. It's a performance. The other guy is really stoned. The first guy's really stoned. And like you say, he's been writing comic books.
It's a crazy story, so he's got it for me based on the.
Yeah.
Let me fucking tell you something, Trump.
I think you've made the story better by turning the King of the Palladians into the Godfather.
Concrete boots, Trumpy baby. You'll be swimming with the fishes, you fucking punk. Yeah, nah, but it's a great story. I'd love to think that all that shit's going on, and the president does have to go and report to the Palladium King every now and again.
Yeah.
Most of the time they've been cool, but now the Palladium King, like all of us, is having to deal with this fucking moron.
The thing is, the picture Mike's got up here, it's like split half on the screen, 50-50. A picture of Trump looking like some kind of orc from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Compared to...
Orange orc.
An orange orc. Compared to this Palladian guy who looks like the Elfin King.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see the parity in our negotiations.
Yeah. These are representative.
If he's
Must he think?
a doughy man...
Idiot of a man.
Doughy idiot of a man. Ich bin ein Mörderclown, as the German press said.
Murderclown.
Against elfin bloke over there who looks perfect in every way. I don't favour our chances.
No. Well,
he's got to outwit the.
He's got to outwit
two of them because he's got the reptilian one. He's got to outwit.
Well, this is it, King Nixie. Inky, that's it.
Well, my money.
I mean,
is on that first guy.
You got Donald Trump versus an immortal reptilian being in charge of Nibiru, or an immortal Palladian being who leads a society with infinite wisdom and leads a society of light.
And Trump's got to win.
And Trump's got to work out that negotiation. I just don't trust him.
I brought you cheeseburgers, okay? Wonderful cheeseburgers. That's his thing, innit? Gives fast food to people. Anyway, fuck him. First man's got it for me.
Yeah. Just the insanity of it.
What are you saying?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, second bloke's pretty insane too.
Oh yeah, he's also fucked. Just
well, they're all insane. They won't be on the show otherwise.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
True.
Just flat out liar.
Just whoever's slightly more insane than everyone else.
Yeah.
I think he gets it this week. The alien
Excellent.
contactee.
Right. Newbie
Follow on
win.
YouTube if you're interested.
Debut win.
Keeping up with his. I know I will be.
Yeah, he's just gained a subscriber right here.
Notification bells on and everything.
Well,
20,000 fucking subscribers, and what have we got?
I think that's a good point to wrap this bad boy up.
Yeah, it's been
End
great.
of part 1 of Chernobyl.
Yes, next week we will focus on the war for Chernobyl.
Ooh.
We've told you at the battle. Next week is the war.
What
is it good for?
Absolutely
Absolutely nothing. Well, actually, medical progression,
advancements in science and technology,
commerce.
But it's only friends with the Undertaker. Dong. Dong. Get it?
Yeah.
Undertaker came
Yeah.
ruined the song.
Got it? Yeah, he comes in. Yeah.
The chokeslammed guy singing.
Bit harsh.
Well, that's what he does. He's the dead man.
It's true.
Wrap it up, fucking hell. What are we babbling about?
So, I've been Ben. Thanks for listening. Don't drink the Flavour Aid and don't join a cult.
I've been Gaz. Subscribe to Sewage Pipe Gaming and Solar Water Music on YouTube. Free Biff Tannen and good night.
I've been Mike. Thanks for listening. Peace out. May the force be with you. Good night.
And don't forget to like our Facebook page, Cutting the Bull in the Post-Truth Apocalypse, our Twitter feed, @ApocalypseBull, and YouTube is Apocalypse Bull as well. And Solar Water Music, as Gaz said. Thanks for listening. Have a good night.